always say, look both ways before crossing the street. They also say when the OG3 are on the mic, that shit is legit. What is up, guys? Welcome to FNTASIA episode 14. You know how it goes. We got Balti W, Monster Deepface, and Shy Wager. I'm not going to say those three names in succession too often, and so I'm kind of happy about that. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, this is the OG trio. Like, holy, this is the OG trio. It's been a while.
That is facts. That is facts. Yo, well, listen, what up, boys? Thanks for having me. You guys tuning in. Let's get it, man. Yes, sir. We're here to talk about some Fortnite. Vibe out.
Yeah, we needed a person who actually like consumes NA East like in detail, because last week it was just terrible because we were like hard into EU for the first time ever, and then NA East came around. We were like, actually, nobody watched this. So...
No, literally, it was like EU was, imagine a revolving door, right? And we're all in the same like the file of it, trying to roll through, like talking over each other, and then NA East is like we are all holding open the door. You first, bro. You first. You got this, guy. You go first, bro. It's all chill.
Yeah, dude. Like, and NA's interesting right now. I think the NA space is in an interesting place, especially East with it is in a declining state, in my opinion, a decaying state. And that's what makes it so interesting, because they have always been very much put on a pedestal for various different reasons. And if you had an argument against them, there was ample, I'd say, information and things to kind of hold back or put some resistance on it. But yeah, we'll get into that.
Well, a little bit. I want to start off with EU. It is Qual 2 that's rolling in. So let's talk about how things actually ended up going down. When it comes to just in general for all regions, I felt like every region felt this, especially the smaller regions in FNCS. The idea of 6 top trios not being able to play and not being there for week 1. It made things really weird. For EU, it wasn't like the biggest deal because it has so many good teams. But like, not having certain people at certain POIs, you got to see how some of these trios you haven't heard from in a long time ended up performing, not being contested, or getting QREIZY, completely free, or having Slurpy Swamp with no like even a benefit of the doubt of anyone rolling in. So it was nice and interesting to see, and it makes the conversation about how finals goes down even more exciting. But for EU, it was QREIZY who popped off consistently throughout the day. I would say like a reverse 2K Mero day type beat. Even though they have a win, if you just look at their stats and history, it was like an insane performance on the right side there. Yeah, Savage, who finally is in the top 3, didn't hit that mark last week, but the boys back in town, and they had some very nice pop-offs. No wins though, which was kind of sad. And then Kaiser, Hellfire, and Flois, man, the relationship between these 3 trios, especially in the last 3 games, were so sick. I'm not sure if you guys got to watch, but basically TLDR. The last 2 games, which we all know in FNCS, changed the entire leaderboard, right? QREIZY versus Savage in game 5 at the very end. And this is where Savage got a shit ton of eliminations that basically allows him to be on this page. And then you have at the same time Flois versus Stormy, right? Again in game 6. QREIZY, I think, came in second in that one. Kaiser, Hellfire, and Flois needed to win, and they did. And it was sick. I wish I knew it like while I was casting, because I didn't get to see all the points. I would have had a sick call, but now we save it for another day.
Dude,
but
that was
too hard. So much fun.
It was way too hard to like keep track of what was happening, because it was exactly so like it was actually like almost to me like last week, where the last game determined everything to get into that top 3, and there was a clutch performance by I guess it was in this case it was Flois, Kaiser, and Hellfire, but even Toos. Like the last 2 games was clutch. They weren't in the top 3 like at all the entire day, because they're they were playing consistent. They were up there, top 4, top 5, but they pushed themselves way up with their last 2 games, which was really really cool. To me, I was really excited about the Refsguard, Savage, and Andretta trio, because they finally found some success in terms of like their last we were talking about their early game plan, the fact that they're not able to execute off of Storm Surge, really not finding the positions that they need to catapult themselves forward. But then it came to endgame, and every single game they were up head-to-head with Floki, Clement, and Deciptos, who had uncontested Pleasant this time around. So it was like literally the battle of these 2 teams, and I was like, holy crap, like Floki, Clement, and Deciptos are not going to let them claw at all, because every time they have a head-off engagement on low ground at some point, and it felt like they were winning every time. But yeah, that second to last game by Savage was nuts. Like,
yeah,
that's the type of stuff that I expect to see from Savage, and I haven't been seeing in the last couple of seasons. Just full wiping trios.
See, but that's the thing, right? The later stages, it reminds you of the people you forget that can do stuff like that. Like, especially a player like QREIZY, right? QREIZY is known, like, even if you date back to his previous performances, like, these are the stages he gets a first place in. These are the stages he is at the top, and then you want to build a story about him in finals, and he disappears because he is a late stage just savage when it comes down to putting up the numbers up against these other types of players. Granted, if you look at their numbers on this, they were just consistent, so it's a little different, right? As opposed to second and thirds, major pop offs, and I think it goes down to about top 7. Like all of them had at least one double-digit game, really amplifying their scores. So, I mean, I think the later these stages get, though, the more likely we are going to see those teams or those teams like kind of forgot about, right? But have that firepower. Like that's why they're up there.
There's a big reason for that too. And like on that note again of Savage finally being able to fix his rotations, even with Disciples like breathing down his neck the whole time, there's a bunch of teams that like would punish Savage harder or like just in general control Steamy's side of the map a lot more so than this trio can, and they're not playing, right? I'm thinking about like the people at Dirty Docks cutting off a lot of rotations. Anas obviously not inside the competition. I feel like with the absence of like a lot of the trios, Endgame especially, right, who came top 3, this was actually hilarious to watch, by the way, on a screen. It was like Savage still ended up getting an elim going straight to the Disciples. But in general, it's like I felt like because of, it's not even like the lower quality of play, just not having some of those top names endgame that are used to being, you know, on lower, like punishing on height, like the barrier of like punishing certain mistakes of players like Savage and like aggressive low ground players wasn't as high this week, which is why they were allowed to do this. I feel like why they got the 14 elim win as well. I feel like everything's not like fully guaranteed, so to speak, coming into like grand finals, basically. Like these guys still have a lot of work to do. And when the top teams are there, it's going to be 10 times harder for this type of performance to happen. Like a 14 elim catch up is the only reason they qualified, in my opinion.
Like as opposed to like who is missing from all this that, you know, that should have. Sorry, I didn't want to have your big ass faces on there. who is missing from last week? Is it Blaster Alpha Nikov that would have denied this? Because
I think that in terms of low ground, yes. Because it's just because let me roll back to what's it called, qual real quick. It's not even that, it's like just having people like Janice not a part of things, right? People that would punish stuff that might not have ultimate height, that basically take more room, like when they're alive in
way
endgame.
More.
I just feel like for Savage's trio, they still don't have like, you know, that dominating power. Like you don't notice them, but I feel like you need to be noticed and respected in end games, or you just crumble.
I'd say a team that honestly, and we're looking at the gameplay right here, Trulex, QREIZY, and Jerky, like these guys, Trulex probably and QREIZY do not get the recognition they deserve. They're always winning games and finals. I think if there's a team that, okay, they don't have the flashy pop-off performance right now to put them in top 3, but like that's a FNCS finals, like grand finals type of team that will probably do well because they play really well in stack lobbies and they win games. Like they won 2 games this weekend, like, and you don't get top 3. Like, I mean, that's just a different discussion, but like I said, because you need the elims and all that good shit, right, to be the best on average points. But like you put that in a finals performance and they can win like that, those are the teams that I'm most interested that are going to hopefully break through finals or through semis. And for EU in particular, like it's unfortunate, but there's always good teams that get left behind. So it's hard to really figure out, right? Like, how do you really get the best of EU? There's always teams like Trulex, QREIZY, and Jerky that just won't make it because things didn't work out for them, right?
I personally think that their style, the way that they play, like they played fantastic today or last weekend, and they should have qualled because they did so well in the first like 3 games. They were always the team on hype, but then they just started struggling against, you know, some of these teams like QREIZY, like Tus, who started actually contesting them. And once they start losing that, then they really had no play. You know, I talk about how you actually have to have the style. I like the depth to teams when they can go different ways, but when it comes down to low ground for them, when they don't have height and they aren't able to capitalize, that starts to be an issue. And the fact that they didn't qual this week, yes, they can probably do it next week. This week coming up, I guess it starts today, right?
Yep.
But Like that's scary. And there's already so many teams that are actually there. Like when I think about Shile's point where it's like, yeah, there's people missing and that's why this team is able to do well. I think like a team like that is struggling more because in the EU historically it's always the teams that are very aggressive, the teams who have an identity that everybody can recognize, like Hen Chapik's and Janice, like Tayson's teams in the past. You know, it's always fight for high ground, win the game, do that multiple times. That's been the story for EU. I think that this season is actually, we're starting to see a bunch of teams like last week, Blaster Alpha, Nikov, like this week, Savage and Dread Refsguard, qualifying through low ground consistency, which in my opinion is the better way to play for tournaments overall, you know?
Yeah. On the topic of like what you mentioned with Trulex, I felt like they don't even play that style of like, you know, having those pop off games, so to say. Yeah, they're not a completely consistent team, but in terms of that word capitalizing on their games, they don't get elims when they win. Like they just win. You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest issue for the team, is actually ending up milking something out of their top performances, because it's like a difference of just a few points in terms of them qualing week after week, and it's on those moments, right? It's like when there's a bounce back on height, you can't do much. And then it's not only just the teams that's qualled in terms of that whole conversation, it's the teams that don't end up qualling for the week. Like I'm thinking about the biggest team that was missing that usually ends up fighting Savage no matter what mode it is. Benji's was not there this weekend, right? That's one of the reasons Floki got to do what they got to do as well. They had a completely different way of playing the game compared to call number one. But like them not being on low, trying to disrupt, like I just feel like there's a lot of like ifs, ands, and buts coming to like, you know, I don't think you can define that a trio's finally fixed something week to week until we see them actually take on like every good team in the same lobby. But then
that's what like my least favorite part about this whole thing is not only that you don't get to see them really play it out, right? You almost get to forget what they're capable of. I think the players are at a greater disadvantage. There's an argument to be made there. Oh, they're at an advantage because they can watch, etc. And then, you know, but I think the players are at a greater disadvantage not being able to play, put themselves in that driver's seat and feel the chemistry week to week. I think that is so important, being in that hot seat when the pressure's on and getting these real-time experiences. And when that's lacking, in my opinion, I think the most important thing you miss out on is communication skills. Like literally valuable communication.
I did it again. God damn it, man. I'm trying so hard.
It's going that damn head.
This anomaly then, right? 4ZR, Tayson, and Nate. Another week, another WTF. 15th place, surge issues, not making end games. These guys get to have the communication practice. They get to have what you're talking about, playing week after week, but they literally look like they're playing worse than week one.
Bro,
what's going on here?
Like Nate's on a new team, Tayson's on a team again, 4ZR's on a different team again. Like that's the issue. I feel like
Nate and 4ZR is still, you know, the boys. Like these guys are the qual masters, first back to back. They played with each other for 2 seasons, right? They had that season monster where they literally came first 3 weeks in a row, almost. Like I think it was first, second. So like these guys are the gods of quals, and they have an upgrade in my opinion in terms of Tayson. They have uncontested sweaty some games, and they still flop. Like this team, because of their performance, this entire idea we've been talking about, like since I think 4 episodes of FNTASIA of ever since we got this announcement, you know, teams can move on.
I'd say like looking at the way they played, I'd say they threw 2 games, right? The 27th and the 28th place. Those are rough.
And the 5th game and the 6th game. Personally,
I wouldn't say they threw the 5th, 6th, or 7th game, considering they were live for over 20 minutes. Like that's kind of my threshold for like, how did you really do that game? Like Fortnite is a literal game of, there's a lot of gambles involved, right? Or there's a lot of just randomness involved. And I think if you make it past that 20-minute to like 23-minute threshold, then you're in a decent place. You just got to tidy some things up.
But it's a second week, and
that's my judging factor. Personally,
here's the issue with them. It's literally the same thing. They're stuck in this world of I want to get in on a team, and then they're always pathing next to a god team. I don't know how many times I find them on screen when I'm watching the broadcast, and all of a sudden they're next to Deciptos Clement and Floki. They're next to Aqua, you know, Veno and CRR. And they're trying to engage, and they're like, last week it was Benji, Amplify, and Matzo. They were always rotating us to them. they just can't find a path where they're actually able to bully teams because they're always ending up next to teams that are really, really good. I think they battled against Analyx XYZ at one point in this tournament as well. Like, that is their issue, and until they fix that, I don't see them coming up back on top in these custom formats. I still think that they're very strong, and I do think that as long as they fix that, that is the one issue to them being fantastic. Because
is that a play style issue, or is that just like who the hell is the impatient player on the team? Because
I don't know, because
it only takes one player to really be like, no, this is a good fight. Confidence boost the hell out the squad. Then all of a sudden you really think it's a good fight. Like,
no, like last week, Ball's talking about the Benji fight. Like, Benji was beamed hard. I think he literally had no shields and Tayson's on his wall, and they back up. I'm pretty sure it was Fort's Yard that put beams down on Aqua. Tayson's on the wall, they back up. But then, like, end game, like you're talking about this 20-minute mark monster. It's not like they're making it to 20 minutes. They're struggling to survive there. Yeah, and then they have some scuffed ass 2v3 fight. Like, I don't understand why they do it there and they don't take the advantage earlier on in the game. So
it's just a planning issue. It's just a path issue. It's maybe they need to get like, I don't know who's coaching them, but whatever their path is always, they always get into trouble. They're never able to just, they get a beam or whatever. Usually that beam is enough for them to completely turn the tides and get the advantage. But against really, really, really good elite trios, which they're ending up fighting, it's not enough. And they're able to all of a sudden, recoup from what loss that they had on the other side. So yeah, they need IGL, something like that, to be able to fix that issue.
That is a hard call. And then, like, on the topic of like looking at the bottom of the barrel, so to speak, of EU, or the problems that are going on, Mongraal, Mero, Milan rolling in this weekend. The best trio EU, number one in the power rankings coming through, according to the DTW himself. But these guys they have some problems, and this wasn't even in finals. This was like rolling through quals. Like, they didn't make it past qual 2 or something. I don't even know, but they were struggling, man.
Yeah, Mongraal. I think Mongraal's an interesting one, man. It's one of those, you want to root for him because you know what he's capable of, but doesn't show up a lot of the times, right? Like, and then again, like, how seriously does Mero take the game right now? Like, you know what I mean? I just feel like we're looking at players that are just kind of here, floating in the space. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. You're on that type beat then, because
I don't think they take the game seriously. I don't think they take the game seriously, personally.
Okay, yeah.
Or maybe they are.
The storylines. It was Mero just does not care.
That's how I feel. Like,
and that's one of the that's where a little bit of the side of the community was, that this man is just throwing games. There's no comms, diving into boxes solo. But this is like top tier teams, man. Like, I understand, haha, Mero, go W key, man. Like, do what you need to do.
Yes, skill wise, top tier, no doubt about it, right? You know they can hold their own. When they're on it, they're on it. But like, yeah, just looking at the tweets here, the messaging, right? It doesn't look like a team who's taking it serious. Doesn't look like a team that's going to look at their mistakes, their deaths, right? Want to improve off of that. It's just like, yeah, that happened. Blame the game, right? Or like whatever, right? It's just like shrugging off everything around you, all these mistakes or whatever, right? And not taking accountability, not actually trying to be the best team. I think there's way more hungrier teams out there than they are. And that's the real issue. Like, straight up, like Indretta, Savage, Revscar, they haven't stopped actually trying, like playing hard as shit, sticking with one another, claiming those drop spots, trying to work through their differences at the drop spots, whether it be contested or not, like, etc. Like, most of these teams up in the top 10 are literally trying. And they're not throwing bullshit on the timeline like QREIZY, Trulex. Like, these guys take accountability for their games. When they lose the game, they'll be down on themselves, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just got my tooth fixed. they'll be down on themselves though.
Yeah. I also kind of feel like, are we getting April Fooled again in terms of like how serious are the issues? No. You're saying no?
Nah, they all tweeted this. Like, nah, 100% nah. And we already, like, come on. They haven't called for a single final. It's the same sort of thing that, that's going to take a toll on any team, no matter what, where there's going to be outbursts like this. Dude, I mean, we kind of expected this. Mongraal, Mero, and Milan, they picked up a friend, It's not like somebody's going to come in and clean them up or anything like this. I mean, Milan's a great player. He played with who was it? Chapix and Hen the season before, or season
Hen
4,
Crew.
you know, Stark
Yeah.
Industries. And then after Milan leaves, they go on to win. Like, and they were good back then too. So it's not like this trio on paper shouldn't work. It's just that Mongraal and Mero still have not fixed the issues that seasons past have led them to since Tayson has left them. And now I'm kind of thinking like, oh, Tayson breaking up that trio, man, he dodged a bullet, you know, after winning FNCS. He dodged a bullet.
Or he dodged a bullet, or he shot the gun. You know what I'm saying? Like,
maybe that could be something too. Like, he could just be the guy who instigated it all.
Yeah,
I feel that's an NAE story right there for sure. They're always on that one.
In there soon, but there's a few more teams I just want to talk about on EU side. 30th place was the most surprising for me on the day, and it was basically because of 50-50 contestation. NLX and AZX squeezed 43 points.
I didn't even realize how down bad they were, but
yeah,
they were getting contested by the other Frenchies in this one, Airwalk, Sky, Vato, right?
Yeah,
right. So
and
like
that's the next thing I want to talk about too, is in terms of like they rolled in. I feel like we haven't seen them in eons, and they still seem like, you know, the Sky Vato that we just took a break from watching before. Like the organization's there. I feel like both teams though were affected by the Allspawn fight.
Yeah. I saw, I mean, Andalex Squeeze and they were getting contested last week as well, right? To in my mind, lesser extent, because this one was like almost full 50-50s, or in some cases like full dives on each other. But I saw the same things that happened in early game happen again, where Andalex gets caught off by himself. 3 times I saw this happen. One time he's off like near retail-ish, like, I don't know, with nothing pretty much, and the entire team drops on, or dives on him. The other time he's off by bridge. There's also another team at Weather Station that came in, I think, halfway through the tournament that started causing problems too, and it's just pure chaos. Caddy seems to be a place right now where if you have not established yourself as somebody who will dominate if you land there, you're gonna really struggle. So I think the fighting conditions there are not the best unless there's a very nice split going on where one team gets main, the other team gets, you know, gas and potentially Weather Station, and that's just not happening in this season at all. So I can't see them fixing it unless they're uncontested.
The only issue with the drop is that like it would be easy to split. It's just gas station has the shittier loot, but all the peppers. And so if you want to get out with loot and why you came there, you have to just fight the whole spawn. So
I was gonna say that's the thing, right? Like all the vital components are down there, like, you know, all the forageables, but then you need the real fighting loot, which you'll find at all the drop spot stuff up top and by the little zip line thing. But it is a great spot to split in general. If you are able to get the bridge, control the bottom, like the ditch down towards the river, which now again rivers are buffed and all that kind of stuff. So like overall, Caddy, I think Caddy is a top tier drop spot. Not to mention all the mechanical upgrades and all that good stuff. So it's been like that for a while too. Like we haven't seen a team actually win out of Caddy. I mean, even since I think Caddy Launcher, like, which is ironic considering it was the best loot probably in the game, but you know what I mean? That's how good the drop is. And
but it leads to the fighting conditions too. Like even back at Caddy Launcher, it was like, because it had such shit fighting conditions,
no one did well. No one did well.
It's so hard to get into a position where there is a team landing there and you come out with significant advantage, you know, even if you're wiping the floor with them. Although I have seen Andalex and them do that, so I maybe they could in the future, but who knows?
I know. And then like you dig a little deeper, like you land Caddy, you have to go through Lazy Lake, and Lazy Lake is a god loot drop too. So you're always on the heels of like some other geared up team. You're never going to be in a spot where it's like, oh, we might come across a non-looted team. No, it's Retail Row, it's Lazy Lake, and it's fucking Misty on your warpath. Like, where do you think you're in a tough spot? Like, literally, even all the other teams that are going to be beyond you, once you start to set up, they are very set up.
Yeah. I call them cat drops.
That begs the question about, with this format, do you guys think that some of these really good teams should actually be trying, especially when it's such a dire situation like this one? Do you think that this is a season where they should be making the considerations and stopping to drop in specific places, you know, actually giving up a drop?
It's like you're trying to basically go against your human nature. You know what I mean? Like, Because everyone's so used to need to condition my spot, must grief these kids. And you have to stop that mental first. And then you have to switch and get a whole new strat that you have to hire 3 coaches for and try to stress test as well because no one's capable of thinking on their own anymore. It's wild, man. I wish people could, but I don't think they will, unfortunately. You can see it with I think Robab's in this week as well, hard contested the entire time.
The battle of Robab, dude. It was a Robab's guy and a Robab. That was so full grief, by the way.
That was hot grief. What else was there really? I think Verox this time uncontested, but not enough. Like,
no, they were uncontested fully.
Yeah.
And the problem with this, I think the griefing became more and more of a thing when you realize you're gonna get the series points. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like when you kind of realize I'm going to semis, like no matter what. So either this job's gonna work and I'm gonna get lucky and I'm gonna wipe you for free points, condition to drop, and then actually do something good on the standings. Or I'm going to semis anyways.
That's a stupid like idea in somebody's head. Like I know that is what people are thinking, but the other guys are gonna make it through series points anyways. So like, what the fuck
my
is the
point? It's so
like, it makes no sense.
So redundant. Like you're there to fight all like for what? Like why are you going in this loop for? Like they are also going to semis because they are here. Exactly. So I don't think they figured that part out yet. But you know, when they get their coach and the coach explains it, it'll
I don't know if Destiny's Jesus is explaining that.
That's a masterclass I'd pay to watch for that. That would be hilarious.
Actual like philosophy of playing FNTASIA and griefing patterns.
How to change Mitro's mind, dude. Imagine. Actually imagine.
Oh man. Oh, by the way, back to Trulex, Jerky, and QREIZY for a second. Now their split is a god split. Holy crap.
What is their split?
You know how, remember we were talking shit about Calc and how he's dropping in like the Slurpy Swamps area? Like, we're like, oh, there's nothing there. Nah, that spot has so much good shit. They have Hydro 16. They have like the Slurp truck on Slurpy. They have part of Slurpy already. And then they have the, I don't know what you guys are calling it because I'm not a caster. Yeah, Flush Factory down in the bottom left. And dude, it's so good. It's insane. They get peppers from it. They get full shield, guaranteed. Like, it's so good. And there's not many teams down there. There's not many teams like doing a split. If there is, it's like people doing a split in the mountains next to Misty. You know, it's like they're not going to harass you that much. It's whatever.
Everyone's on like a time trial down there, right? So they can't even force anything, or they just literally grief their game. So yeah.
Dude, there was a team who was like, I forgot what their name was, but they were moving around drop spots like crazy. They just couldn't find anything. And I actually think that this is why QREIZY, Trulex, and Jerky lost. In game 6, that team tried to fucking gank one of the guys from Trulex's team. They tried to gank him. They were hiding inside the one Flush Factory building. And
Plains, Dervig, and Crown.
Was it them?
Atlantic. Yeah, Atlantic boys.
They're right there on screen right now. But yeah, maybe. I don't know.
100%. Because I was casting it. It's like Trulex is like solo, I think.
Yeah.
And he's just chilling. And these guys are all crouched.
And the observers left the fight.
I was just like, yo, I'm typing in 6 different chats, go back, please. and then we go back. Like, I'm looking at the mini map because I think they put a map shot up, and I just see Trulex's little arrow.
They're running away.
I mean, this guy's building is a hard out right now. And then go back and he lived somehow, dude. It was crazy. But yeah. I thought that was like Atlantis's comeback, by the way, but it's Atlantic.
Yeah. I was
playing like
Atlantis
players, bro. I don't know what the hell was going on with those guys. They literally were like 6 different drops. Like it was really weird in terms of how they were operating. And I mean, hey, you know, it goes how it goes.
Yeah.
I think other than that, the last team talk about is Aqua, like in round 4, kind of nice. Kind of unorthodox trio, I think, for the season rolling in. But it clearly worked in the games it was working. And then these guys kind of fell short. It's always surprising seeing a team that wins so hard, not even coming through in top 10. I feel like in EU, you don't usually see that happen. In other regions, that rolls through, but
it's the format thing, right? It's the top heavy format stuff changing the way that the points end up working when there's a team who wins dominantly.
But they lost 3 games though, like low key, like a 25th and a draw spot. It looks like they failed one.
Here's
I feel like this is
my take on them is that I am very impressed. Sorry, where the ends? I guess I should just pull it up and then
12th.
12th. Okay, so yeah, this team is very good at adapting, I think, but there's so much so that they end up getting into awkward positions as well. So like games 1 and 2, how many times has Aqua in these events, any of his teams, no matter what, whether he's playing with Stompy, whether he's playing with any team, he's always first 2 games terrible, first 2 games really really bad, next 2 games he wins. It's like that. That's how it is, and it feels like he makes the adjustments necessary to be able to be able to win. It was a height take where they won, and then they took height, I think, in the next one as well, and almost did well, but they ended up getting dropped. That's the same sort of pattern again, and then they fell short in the others. They were always, I think, game 1 they got absolutely destroyed by Clement, Deciptos, and Floki. They had surge issues. They tried to dive a box. And they just got shit on, like like at 3, like full 3v3 and no damage done type of deal.
I'm more excited to see what CRR does. Like, 'cause I feel like I put CRR in the Metro bucket. Like, do you take it seriously or not? Right? And then
do you
like? Well, I kind of do, because
I would have put him there at the beginning of last season, but then he came out and almost qualled, like with a random trio at the end, like.
But that's my thing. Like, it's like I feel like he's just been hopping around a lot. His narrative's kind of all over the place. He was with Wolfies, and they kind of just do their thing, and then they get whoever the hell they can get. They'll go play a competition. I feel like it's been a while since what can CRR do, right? Like, get him with some good players and like kind of stick him with some good players for some time. Aqua too, though. Aqua's always hopping around, right? But we know what Aqua's capable of, like the W's, like literally taking wins. The man is goddamn good. I don't think he's actually given up his hunger to win. I think it's more so like he hasn't quite found anyone that can take him seriously. Like, you know what I mean? On a mentality level. I feel like he's a really good player, but who's the oddball out. Like, that's how I see Aqua right now.
2 things. I feel like to play with Aqua, you're going to have to take things seriously. I think CRR's on the serious type beat. If he wasn't before, definitely is now, even on their play. And then on the topic of like, the way these guys roll in, like ever since season X, you know what I'm saying, in terms of like the adaptation type beat, they are like a solar beam Kamehameha Super Saiyan squad, where it takes a little bit of power up, it takes those first few games, and then they're on power. I just feel like they're old men now, where like that power's there for just a little bit, because you're right, they're fizzling out. Like before, it was games 2 to 6. They've learned, they've adapted, they're dominating, and now it's like, I don't know. There's other, there's like, I don't watch Dragon Ball Z, so here we go with the butcher villains. Gohan's there. Like we got Trunks. We got the next gen coming through, and they know how to do that adapt playstyle too by games 5 and 6.
And Aqua and CR, they're dead. They have the halo over top of each other, and they're coming back for a day, shitting on everybody, and then going back to fucking Cammy's house.
They're punching shit up, and then they're backwards. You know what I mean? Like classic anime trope where they can't do anymore, or like random blood spurts out of their mouth. Like by games 5 and 6, those important adapting games are the top 3. Like fucking, Sharingan activates. They go on like demon mode. Like they're not there to push it.
It's the Rock Lee effect, bro. They can open a few gates and it doesn't last very long anymore.
They can only get to like gate 3. Everyone now is like on gate 8. It's nuts. Like they can't do anything. It's wild. I feel like they should have pushed harder. I don't know what.
But here's the thing. I think there's a lot of teams like this, and that's because when you're exceptionally good, but you don't fully got it with the trio, you're going to win a game. You're going to pop off. You're going to have those 2 moments, enough to make your YouTube video, right?
Yeah.
And then the tournaments, but you actually do terrible in the
win
tournament.
Like this. Like these guys lose, learn, and win, right? It's just an LLW type beat. And for everyone else, it's just W followed by infinite L's. I feel like that's how it goes. Look at Hottie, look at Tripper, right? Like it's always one game where there's big dubs or something, and then after that, it's just, that was a cool game. Missed those times. I remember FNPL. Damn, what a dope time. And then it's just else after that. It's like they have like one cool performance. And then like
what are you
it's like I had a reference in my head, but it did not translate well to English when I actually spoke words. It's just, all I'm saying is I feel like they need to push harder. And then For that hottie trio, I also want to mention them after. I feel like they're winning a reboot round. I just want to put it in here, just for the historical archives. I feel like these guys come through and they win a reboot because just Hottie, Elocrast, and Trip, and the guys highlighted right now, just because they're here now in Qual 2, and you know, I'm looking at them in the later games. They were in a few end games and they were kind of interrupting people. In Qual 1, they were like hard interrupting teams over and over, and up towards I think they actually ended up winning a game, staying on low in this interrupt type beat where
in week 1,
they're playing like zone line, right? They're not ahead of the zone by any means, but they're living and they're full HP and they're popping kids, and then they get ahead of everyone, and then they're the final 2. Like, that's my reboot round trio to watch. And once again, I don't think we talk about this enough because the quals are rolling through. Reboot's going to be so interesting this season. I think we'll talk about it afterwards too. The multiple rounds type thing. Multiple teams qual through that is going to be.
I like that. I think there's a lot of people that don't because it might lose the flair, but I don't think so.
I mean, lose the flair.
Honestly, even
and everyone's like.
I mean, I even like the way that like we're rooting for top 3 coming out of each of the weeks. I think that's exciting. Like on a when I'm casting, like genuine excitement. So I'd hope that other people kind of feel that the same. Like, you know what I mean? And I think the players, there's no way you want to toss up a shot to top 3 to get straight to finals. So I think they've raised the stakes enough. Like I said, my biggest concern is the whole. Yeah, this week is. I feel like this week is also just going to feel like a reboot round. It's your last chance, right, to get to finals, in a sense, right? If I'm not mistaken. So it also feels very much like the stakes are high.
I don't know. I think I wanted to talk about Seti, Kemi, and Teak for a sec because they almost made it. They won a game. They started off very strong. They look like a team that's going to win, and then they just start floundering. And I didn't see a single time where I was like, they're split. That was godlike. They have amazing shit coming out of this. Like,
I feel like this team, the higher the quality of the lobby is, the better they play. So I feel like because we're in quals, they're not at their maximum. That's why they can't end up winning games completely. These random teams rolling around, the Atlantic boys were, you know, randomly north sometimes. Bottom to, you know, Stena, Riot are rolling in with out of Craggy. The zone's bottom left, but somehow they're rotating through Dirty. Makes no sense to me. But you know, there's random stuff that happens. Like they're walking by, like they're driving in their car, everything's cool, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And it's like, it ends up like they take a wrong turn or they miss their turn. Like, I feel like that's the issue. But if the lobby's higher, they can analyze shit. They can play chess. They win. If they know what every piece does. But as soon as the pawn starts to do kickflips on the board, like that's where they have an issue. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe. Yeah, I definitely felt like they weren't getting their
I want to search up his history.
Their full, you know, their full split. They were never bringing out. Well, are they ever going to be able to bring out dubs in finals? Is that like a thing?
Yes, because they're still doing the tech with hot floppers. They just don't have a big enough split to get all the gold, I feel like, is what it is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is there going to be a time in finals where they actually can get that split?
Yeah, like when it's organized, there's a contested fight Dirty for at least 3 games, right? Steamy's probably contested as well.
No.
Everyone around them is in their
2
own
weeks in a row.
bubbles.
It's uncontested and Steamy. I don't believe that for a second.
Man, there's always going to be that one team that qualifies through reboot that doesn't know what's going on. Savage who? And they roll in to see me and they stay there, you know. Like
if that happens again, I will fully buy into this idea of clout farming bullshit that I completely dismissed in my mind.
I forgot about that too. That's a possibility. But if everyone just stays in their bubbles, right, and for at least 4 games, these guys can get that dub action. I don't even think it's the dub action that makes them win.
No, I don't think so either.
Even one game, that's huge, and I feel like that's guaranteed. Because hot flopper dub shotgun
I was just curious.
Disgusting.
I was just curious. I see them pulling it off all the time in you know, the earlier stages. It's just that I didn't see it at all be a factor in finals. And I'm wondering that's because of how people play. I don't know. We'll see. But
I mean, I'm looking at their history.
So good.
Yeah, their history reflects that for sure. Bunch of top 10s, all recent. Nothing better than their third that they just pulled out of their recent cash cut, but damn, still impressive for how long they've been doing it. Like I think over a month already.
Like with that history in mind, with their placements, you can tell they're making endgame, but they are a low ground team. right?
Yeah.
And when you have Savage and Dread and Resguard doing very well, fixing whatever issues, and you have Clement, Floki, Deciptos also being in the business, then it's just like, that's too much to sustain, you know?
Mhm.
And one of those
I think it
teams
was like
qualled,
Hottie also
another
that
almost
ended up-
didn't qual,
yeah.
and then they almost didn't, or they almost qualled as well. So yeah.
I think they're a Superman trio, but like, if you guys were into like the history of like Superman, this is gonna be a cool lesson. If you're into the history of Superman in the comics, as like, you know, the dude gets older, there's more lore. Everyone knows his weakness, right? It's kryptonite. At the very start, no one knew what the fuck to do. Like at the very start, when Batman meets him, when everyone's getting introduced to Superman, guy's a god, and suddenly you figure out like, yo, if I have this rock, he's beatable. For these guys, like if a team's just like, yo, they're doing Cammy split, let's interrupt it. Happened in Qual 1, they would look so beatable, right? So I feel like the deeper we go, if there's a team that's just like, what do we do, right? Where's the spot on the map? How can we bring it back from just being down bad 20 points? This is the team you end up landing on. It's, although they're so powerful, they have like the biggest superpower in the map. They're a Superman trio now, and it's like late lore time in their story. So I think everyone knows what to do with them. I think that's the trouble they have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. I feel like that's
analogy.
EU though. Yeah.
No, it's not. You guys are you're forgetting one crucial thing that everybody's gonna want us to talk about, and it comes in place 25th.
Yes.
Oh yeah, these guys.
QREI fans rise. QREI fans rise. I completely forgot this even happened. That's actually crazy.
And that's why this is so boring and like
So dumb.
Dude, come on, man. I don't even know why this is possible. I'm you know, it happened. Casual fans are like, oh my god, it's so cool, really nice strategy. It's like, no, this isn't interesting. They're literally just exploiting the game and skipping. Because the game is broken.
Can I just say that like I respect his grind. Like
Absolutely.
he's building a brand, but like no, in the sense that like what he's building outside of Fortnite. Like no, his gameplay is shit is dumb. But like you know what I mean? Like I don't really care about what his plan is. It's not gonna work. It's cool. It's funny. Whatever, right? But like I respect what he's building on social media. Like he's trying to cultivate a community out of this meme he's created.
I feel like
and juice it. He's juicing it. He's
Like,
juicing it.
Think about it, Monster. 300 followers.
We should
like
be the guys.
70K now. Why are we heel gaming this? Is there a way to heel game casts? Like, what is
He's
this is
juicing
crazy.
it.
Wait, did he really? I didn't follow any of the social media stuff at all. I just
300 followers to start the day.
Oh,
ends
yeah.
it with 50,000.
wow.
He's at 58,000 right now. Like he's popping on Twitter.
Off
Like
of
he's
all
got
that, he was
Yeah.
trending on Twitter. Like on Twitter.
That's
not
crazy.
Fortnite Twitter.
Okay.
QREI was trending just on Twitter.
look
in
his
general.
look
Like,
his use code QREI post got 17,000 hits.
What?
Hashtag ad FNCS.
Yeah.
Like all of his tweets right now are banging. 24 minutes ago, literally says he's starting a community for unconventional Fortnite players. That's what he's calling them now. See, so he's cultivating a community around the meme, and I respect what he's building with
That's
it.
lit.
It's funny. It's admirable. And people are
That's
buying
lit.
into it. People are just buying into it. The pros already bought into it. Obviously, they memed them up. And now, if you have the pro backing, you already know this is what they call it, the echo chamber. Here
Yeah.
comes all the marching
Okay.
band, right? Coming
and
on
then
behind them.
here is the nasty conversation to have in terms of double standards in Fortnite, and it's a cool segue to NA East as well. Over here for QREI, I forget what trio rolled in. I think it was the Siptos. Maybe it was Kinzel or Kuriachi. I'm not sure, but they target them because they know exactly what the hell they're doing. Levin had that as a potential storyline as well the whole time. Like it's so easy for these guys just to get picked up. That's why the heel game won't work in a grand final stage. They end up going down, and that trio gets hate, gets blocked, they get shit on. The community, yeah, they're kind of memeing them here and there. The rep's getting kind of, bing bing bopped. Double standard in NA East where I forget I think it was Tahi contesting Bizzle the entire time. That was like the whole story of the weekend. Bizzle also, I think it was trending more so on Fortnite Twitter, or just like competitive esport Twitter. Like and the hashtag like description was pro Fortnite player FaZe Bizzle is playing really bad, and people are reacting on Twitter. but everyone over there is like on the side of like Gabe and Tahi. rather than like they switched up the narrative of like, you know that they're uncontested and blah blah blah. It's fine to pick those guys off, but it's not fine to pick QREI off of his strat.
I
Like,
blame Clicks fans.
I wouldn't liken that to that at all. To be honest, that's an off spawn beef that, you know, you're gonna pick a side, right? No matter what. I liken this more to actually fucking Sway and his fans going after Creo. You know, it's not to the same level, because remember the FaZe Elite Cup, the Sky.
I was gonna say that happened to Bucky, that happened to Creo, like
that.
Because
more
and
like
Bucky or Macwood's always one like, I'm here to win a tournament, bro. Like I don't care about your antics, the shenanigans. Like, you want a banana dance and like bat, right? You're done. Yeah. He's putting you down.
I think I misspoke earlier. It's not for the gameplay thing is specific, but all the people I saw shitting on the trio that killed QREI and were in the negative memes and whatnot, right? That were advocating for it. They were riding the meme. Their impressions were high. Were the same people 6 hours later, EU, NA East, who were like, guys, why are we being so negative towards Bizzle, or why are we being so negative towards Gabe and Ty?
Oh yeah,
we should promote positivity. It was the same people. I think, my bad. That was the thing I had an issue with. How is that possible? And how are they not like it's the same
social currency? That's what it comes down to. Social currency. These guys just want to look good in the light. Oh, yo, everyone's hype on QREI. Oh, I'm on the QREI side. Oh, everyone, what? It's cool to hate on Bizzle? Man, what Bizzle? You know what I mean? It's just social currency. These guys they're fake. It's the honest truth.
Man, like, you're woke as hell, man.
That's what it is, bro.
You woke
so
as hell.
I can put it right. Like, does that not make sense? Like, like that makes sense, right? Social currency is the only way I can really think about it. I think they're gaining currency points.
Like, I don't know why. Like, it's wild because you don't understand what that does. Like, when you have Benji tweeting out that he blocked you, and like you have nice adjustment there.
Sorry, I don't know.
You have Benji tweeting out that he blocked you, and like, you know, the biggest creators on EU are retweeting that. Like, you know, look at what happened to the boy Foppy. Like, tweets go a long way, bro. You know what I mean, in terms of like how people see you in the scene. I guess it was like a one-off meme for the weekend, but man, those Twitter bots, the Clicks fans and whatnot, they see one tweet and it's like their gospel, you know. It's like
that's what I was gonna say. So I said I blame the Clicks fans because his fans in particular just wants to go up in arms, right? So they're not gonna blame Clicks for doing bad. They're not gonna blame Booga. They're just, oh, Bizzle's the next weakest target, right? Like, he seems the most vulnerable for the situation. And that's why he became the target of the group. Granted, he does ultimately come off as someone who's, I guess, more frustrated, right, with what he likes to say or whatever, right? Like his persona, if you will. Like, Booga's Twitter is a hashtag ad. He's not really pushing, you know, like necessarily too many of his thoughts and feels, but like Bizzle's Twitter on the other side is like straight up, you know what I'm saying? Frustration. Like, he's constantly expressing frustration. So he just seemed like the easiest target, in my opinion, if you're gonna play the blame game and try to pick someone out the trio.
I think when you compare it to the QREI situation, though, it's like not.
I don't think it's comparable to the QREI situation.
No,
but
I'm referring to Shio. Like, I just think that the QREI thing it's a meme. Everybody's buying into the meme. It's not like, was there any like actual like, you know, threats or like, was it that hurtful to that level?
People, like, people were salty. Benji, but like, you know what happens when this shit happens. You get those threats and messages in your DMs from the randoms. Like,
so but the kids don't recognize, the people with profiles don't recognize that. You know, they don't understand that shit happens from that. So but you're saying there's like a double standard with those people, and you know, they're buying into the meme. That's why they're okay with being like, this guy just killed the guys. They're stupid. Like, you know, that it feels different comparatively. Whereas you're calling somebody bad straight up. They want to, you know, I don't necessarily think it's like
but it's like, you know, like the issue with that is that then I suppose it was QREIZY that ends up killing them. Like when QREIZY goes up to win a game, right, in that season, or get first, like, people just demean that completely because they killed QREIZY one game. Like, your performance doesn't get taken seriously. Like, everyone's
he still won the game. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think that comes down to the influencers in power, man. These guys don't use their position, like, they don't really think about the ramifications or like how they can actually slander someone's profile. Like, if Benji tweeted out like, "Hey, you guy, you should be kicked from your team because here's why. That org is going to feel so much pressure. Like, oh, snap, it's Benji. They're going to want to action that. It's kind of the same thing. Like if he takes a side or, any of these guys,
let's be serious.
So many people that want to be on his side.
Let's be serious. These fucking orgs are completely ignoring when their kids are fucking like, when Click says something stupid like something like that, they don't give a fuck anymore. They know that it's just like, stop that, don't be stupid. Like, going back to the. Actually, I lost my train of thought completely. Here. This entire like double standard thing is a result of the fact that there are that's the open environment where there's people who are just doing it for fun. There's people who are doing it to win. There's people who are doing it for content. There's people who are doing it for money. All these different reasons. And it becomes this place where there's a bunch of different types of fans as well. And, I think we should celebrate that. But also it makes it really hard for me as somebody who's hardcore in the competitive side to get super
to roll with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I personally don't mind. I'm gonna keep my head down and focus on QREIZY winning the game or whatever. Yeah.
I agree. That's kind of interesting though. That topic right there, just in itself, like there's so many different ways because competitive is literally an open landscape. Like Mama Benji Fishy's out here competing, like straight up. Like you know what I mean? So like you got Tommy out here competing straight up. So like you get everything. Content, like whatever you're after, you can kind of find it. So does the fans. So word. I feel that. I think that's an interesting thing I didn't really think about, but when you put it into perspective.
I lost sleep over it. I couldn't function. I couldn't eat. I needed to get it off my chest. But we talk about Bizzle, we talk about game. Let's talk about NA East. The big boys stay on top. Day Mero reverse. Okay. 0 wins. Only consistency. First place. Hog champion. Yeah, man.
Why'd you just throw so much shade right off the bat? God damn. Like, holy crap. This is why we can never respect these this is why. It's because you look at that and you're like, oh, no wins. It's the same thing as always. And then in reality, let's talk about it because they fixed the issue that I was talking about last week. The fact, it still was there very, very much, but there were times where they were rolling into 8 zone with all 3 alive. They were rolling deep with all 3 in 8 zone many times. This lobby worked so well for them, and I'm all aboard the reverse 2K Day Mero train after this week because the stuff that these guys do is ridiculous, man. Mero, as Monster called 15 seasons ago or whatever it was in Solo Invitational when he was just like looking for any controller gods, he's like, oh, this guy, I gotta talk about him more. He called it out, and Mero,
but the reason I called him out was it was the way he was taking his fights. Like he was just kind of efficient. Like he was just winning, like outright.
I know you wanted the controller impressions.
Okay.
I know.
I didn't want the controller impressions, so I was like, yo, Big 60, you're not that good. Like, but you're catching people. No, look, like, bro, he's okay. Think about this. He's timing his fights like people swimming in the water when you couldn't build in the water. Yeah, like he was doing like hella clever stuff. He got the bag. That's all that matters. Remember, we talk about narratives here. Everyone comes to Fortnite for different things. My man got the bag, bro. He was chilling, like, all right, bet, boom, right, doing his thing. So that was what he was here for. But like, yeah. So hell yeah, I was picking on controller players. Mero was a dope one.
No, I'm full serious, bro. Like this guy is a phenom. Like he is unreal. Day as well. Like these two are unbelievable. I have never seen somebody just full dive into people's boxes and not only be able to escape if it goes bad, but also just kill all 3 in 5 seconds. Like, yeah, it's crazy. And that's how they get this consistent. Like, it doesn't matter if he dies, he killed 3 people. Now the trio now the rest of them, Day and Reverse, if Mero died, have full mats. They're able to go through and just get towards the end of the game. Like, it is so clinical and so consistent. On a level that I had never really understood. But also, if they bring it later on, then it's going to be really nice. You know, if they bring it to that 8 zone, all 3 alive, and then they go for their shit, all of a sudden,
and they're all on the same team.
All of a sudden, this team is going to be fucking they're gonna win another FNCS. You know, like it is
they
very
can.
close.
I think they can. I like that Day also speaks that into the universe. Like he's straight up like, wait until finals comes. Like we're winning that. Like I genuinely believe like whatever in his mentality, his perception is like these guys are not good. Like however he sees them when he jumps in the box, whatever he's playing, I think he genuinely sees a lot of these players as like they're not even close to his caliber of just good. Like they can't beat him. I think, and he feels like that. And bro, belief is powerful, right? Like.
Yeah. The thing is, though, the ball's talking about the fact that these guys fixed the problem after a nice week.
Did they?
What happens when they can't play for? Yeah, because like in general, the problem
they
was,
did
like,
better. I'd say like
the core problem in their gameplay is that there's always just like, and we were discussing of whether it was a problem. There's always two alive, right? Like they're not a full trio rolling into things. I feel like that the reason that was possible, one from call 1 to 2. Because they had momentum, and they had footage, they had something to actually go back, discuss, and react off of. Rolling in the finals, they're not going to be able to play qual 3 semis. Is that a fact?
You're talking about 2 weeks. You're talking about 2 weekends.
I am talking about 2 weekends. So like, what happened? What happened off of FNCS? Like, what happened off of like last FNCS to this qual 1? What happened off of the FNCS win to the next FNCS? I mean, okay, I guess they got top 4.
They got 4th. Like, I don't know.
Really good. No, yeah, I think these guys are like.
They also
one
got
of the
nerfed
most
by the
consistent
format
teams.
last season. Like, you can't forget that. If it wasn't for the format, they probably would have gotten first. Like, literally, their entire playstyle is. I mean, somebody can do the report or whatever. It's like compare the formats, but I bet you that they're top 3. They're not even here if the format doesn't change or if the format wasn't the same. You know.
It was just a little snack of a snack of a mind. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's
little food for thought. I was just trying to
You're good. You're good. Hey, don't get all sad. Don't get all small just because I come at you. You know, feel free to have your takes. Last week it was you defending them. Now it's me, fucking like full on.
We got an answer. Yeah, cool then. That's the only thing I had on my mind.
So
I'm done.
My whole thing is like I think they've improved. And I think they're still improving, which is crazy to think about, that they're actually improving. Obviously, they really have. But we talk about their play style. We talk about this type of play style, low ground, heavy frag. And then you have to mention Sensei Edgy Commandment because they are quite literally another definition of they do that really well. They don't do mid-game box fight dives and all that kind of stuff, but they do end game, low ground, like picking people apart, controlling the layer, controlling all the space really, really well. And I feel like you can't have 2 of those teams in the end game. And then you can't have Degen Agers. But I also feel like you can't have Degen Agers and Skittles because they do mid ground so well. Mid ground naturally focuses low. So I don't think this season they're going to do very well because Degen Agers and Skittles are doing very well. Slack, Acorn, and Jack are doing very well. And because they're naturally play several layers above them, I think that's going to cascade down to the low ground teams. So I really don't think the low ground teams this season are going to do well.
Man,
and then you have Chimp, Teo, and Tabney, who I think are sleepers. I genuinely do. But I see Chimp. I put Chimp in the Mero the bucket. Like he is the standout player to me.
They're the openers, all right? They're the openers to the big concert. It's been going cool in the quals. Okay, but that grand finals is a real test, I feel like.
It is. I think they did well last season. Last season was their test.
Nah.
Bro.
This format, the way things have been shaping out with Acorn and Jack, like, it's just... I feel like
format. We just talked about how format can, like, literally make or break a team being, okay, 4th place or winning a tournament. It's the same for them because they're in that vein, so they would have been higher had the format been different.
Yeah, but think about, like, I know,
and then you'd be looking at them differently
now, like how they've grown. If I check my calendar right here, yes,
I think they've grown though. That's my thing.
Season, they're popping off, and if I check this other calendar I have as well, wow, look at that. Acorn and Jax have not stopped.
Yes,
Jesus Christ,
every
Jack
time.
And Slacks have not stopped at all rolling through things when it comes to a final stage, when it comes to third-party comps. Like,
I don't disagree with you.
You know, you put in Tabney in the mix. Mad respects to the boy. I've had conversations. Like, we've had convos about I want to cast your game when you're popping off. You don't think we do with the players in the DMs, but it's like, I think
they're good. I think they've gotten better. They may not be their time, but what I'm saying is, like, you get players like that they have 2 good games. Remember, I talked about that. 2 good games for your YouTube video, right? Those are the guys that kill your next guy's tournament, like, outright, because Champ was on fire and he hit every shot that day.
Yeah.
Like, and he does that at least a game or two. They literally do that, and they make end games. That's one thing people sleep on. They're getting to end game, and they have some seriously good players and like reliable gunfighting skill.
I think
and that's my thing. Too many reliable gunfighting skills.
Historically, NA East has sustained a large number of low ground teams.
Yeah.
Like,
you want to know why?
Why? Yeah, I do want to know.
There's only one team allowed on hype, bro, and that was Zayt, Sav, and whoever the fuck they were playing with. Like, you know, there was one season where Clarity looked like he was cool at taking things all the way up top. There was a couple of teams that kind of, you know, went up there and tried to hang with the big boys, but this has historically been one team that smashes kids on height. I feel like this is gonna be the season where people graduate off of low ground. That or, you know, Sav, Search, and Avery take over completely, but I don't feel like they're as, you know, dominant as when Zayt was in the picture.
Yeah. I think I said last week that I think that this is the season where height wins FNCS on East. I said that last week, and I think I stand by that because I think that it's just so many teams are taking after the rest of them, and it's still such a crazy. I think it's going to be a battle between Bucky, Creo, and is it Bucky, Creo, Macwood? No, Bucky, Kanata, Macwood.
Bucky, Kanata, Macwood.
And Saf, Avery, Stretch. With the rest of them still doing very well, but I don't think any of them are going to be able to win.
Okay.
That's my prediction, my feel on how NA East is going to go. Whereas, you know, I just said on EU, I think that it's low ground. That's all of a sudden becoming really, really strong comparatively.
I think you can throw Clicks, Booga, and Bizzle in there if this weird shit going on in Sweaty resolves.
This isn't fixing. I am
which is a
so
shame because
confident that it's not fixing.
Which is a shame because Clicks was like, he was killing it. And like literally winning dream hacks, right? Taking cash cups, like whatever. And that trio was killing it, but their draw spot dynamic does not work. The one game where, what was it? Game number one, like XYZ don't Gabe Tahi Sprite, they don't make it into the game, and they actually pull a top 10, Breester, no problem, 5 elims, like impressive. Everything after that, crazy downhill, crash, can't actually perform with a contested drop. You let them loose, and they are really good. It's sad.
Is it a Booga curse? Because is that what it is? Because I'm just thinking back to like, you know, any team that I feel like when Booga's there, especially, you know, Clicks is in the business too. There's so much fun to watch on height. They do the coolest shit. Like, you know, I know Zay does this stuff too, where people have, you know, double layered height and it looks cool. But when Clicks is doing it, this guy's like in the skies. This guy's like a next generation eagle that then drops down off a bouncer and pops off in previous seasons. It's like, but this Booga curse, man, I'm thinking back to like season X of like when they were so that they had a flare. It was Booga, Avery, and who was the last person? Was it Clarity?
Clarity.
No,
Clarity.
Yeah. So like these guys also had that flare of retakes, but it was their drop in the finals or closer to the end of the stages that messed them up. And I feel like it's happening again. Like, the same thing from there. It's just that
they have deeper problems than their drops as well. Like,
I think
cup,
now,
really,
watch their cash cup. They're at each other's throats. I mean, you guys talk about the Bizzle hate. Half of that was not directed from Tahi, and then it was directed from Clicks himself.
Right.
Funny how that works.
I was gonna say, I think that's what it is. I think that's where it stems out of that, exactly, the team dynamic. I don't think the fans, like Clicks community, helps any of this. Like,
dude, absolutely.
It feeds in. Like it's hard to have superstars on the same team. And then superstars with different types of communities. Like,
yeah,
you know,
look, Booga's literally trying to be like, he's not always that guy, but like on Twitter, for example, he's never getting into any beef. Like when he's in beef, it's because other people are going after him, and he's like just sitting there. Like I think of Kanata half the time, and then you have Clicks who's going at everybody and going at his teammates too. Like I remember back watching a DreamHack. I think it was when Clicks was playing with Blake, and they die, and then they just go at each other like, you're a shitter, like shit like that, like the most immature 14-year-old thing that I've ever seen, which, you know, I expect from Clicks, but and they're doing it for content. They're like, I'm joking, but really it's, you know, that shit cuts deep half the time. You know, that stuff happens. I saw them argue about Bizzle falling through an edit, and half of them are like, Bizzle's like, I didn't fall through an edit, and then they're like, yeah, you did, you fell through an edit. Like, they're lying to each other. It's the weirdest thing ever. And they're
Yeah.
not even contested in these cash cups. You know, I tune into a stream for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Why the random time I tune in? Both times they're arguing, you know?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think Clicks. Yeah, Clicks does not contribute in a positive way. Like his attitude and the community. Like it's just so toxic. That doesn't sit well for like Abyssal, who's I feel like he's just so easy to pick on.
Big credit to him right now because I don't know how he's functioning.
Right.
Like if
Like,
it was
dealing
me, I'd be
with
like,
it.
nah, I'm done. I'm out of here. Like, what the fuck is the point?
Yeah.
Like, you used to respect me, you know? I used to be the guy that you're looking to for advice, and now, like, what is this? I'd be like, I'm
Right.
out of here. So big ups to him. And I'm not necessarily saying like anything about like these guys individually. I think that they could do well if they were not playing like that, you know? I think that the off-spawn drama stuff contributes to that, and it leads to them not even if they were uncontested. I still haven't seen anything from them that says that they're gonna, you know, be able to go well. Because game one, for example, like you're talking about how like it's a success. Compare that to Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite. They actually just win a game when they shit on them that hard. They just straight out win a game. I think it was game 4 or something. You know?
Yeah. I would think that because of the Osman drama, it actually helps get the pressure off Bizzle and get the pressure off the toxicity. Because at the end of the day, no matter what ends up happening in game, like akin to a cash cup type beat, right? Like when you're watching cash cups, you're looking at cash cups, like things go wrong wherever, the player's to blame. They can just come back, reel things in after streams are done, after they're off the cameras, and just look at the fact that they were contested and have that as a major factor of what went wrong.
But,
like if you look at
I
their
don't think they
pre-game
do.
tweets, no, but if you look at their pre-game energy, it's always them versus others. If you look at their in-game energy, it's them versus themselves. And their post-game energy, I feel like, is once again them versus others. So I feel like that balance is fine, and that balance will always be there if you're gonna play with someone like Clicks, right? Because, you know, that's just the dude's humor, the dude's style. Like it is a problem here and there, but if you think back to like, you know, some of the most talented players when you're younger in aggro games like Gears of War or COD, where like, you know, aggressive skills required, they're dicks. They talk shit to their teammates too. Yep. You have, you know, aggressive IGLs who are a pain to play with, but then they end up clutching you the next generation rounds of the sickest calls. Like, fuck it, we're here, right? In the moment, it might be them versus themselves, but as long as like pre-game and post-game, it's them versus others.
It requires a certain
like
type of person to be able to thrive in an environment like that. In my mind.
I don't even think they need to thrive though. I think that as long as they're surviving, it's fine. Because we know Booga's not
so that they can do well in grand finals. Is that what you're saying? Like as long as they survive, then they're gonna do well in grand finals.
Yeah.
No.
You think that's just?
I don't think it's possible. I don't even think there's like a post game where they just sit down and apologize to each other and like really like, yo, what the hell went wrong?
Who knows? Maybe there is.
No. I'm saying like this was the way I picture this in my mind. It's like the stream ends, the show's over, and they're like, yeah, forget you guys, right? Like I'm just gonna go play my games. I'm gonna go queue up a day, right? Like Clicks is gonna go play with Day, Booga's gonna go queue onto Valorant. Like literally, it's just like later, Bizu has to go deal with Twitter. Like you know what I'm saying? Like that's literally what I think they're like. Show's over, nothing gets fixed. There's no action taken, right? It's just like, what a shit day, whatever. Let's come back tomorrow because we know skillfully we should be able to overcome this, whatever, boom. But nothing gets fixed. And I think that's the problem, that they haven't sat down and tried to fix the problem that's in front of them. And if they did, I like I said, I thought Clicks was like literally one of the hottest players, like for like on skill level, like end game calls, like he's gotten. Like, you're stupid. You're stupid. You feel me? But like on that type beat.
Yeah. True. Other than like their off spawn stuff, any other thoughts? Like I think we've kind of talked about their story rolling in the grands. It's just gonna be a mental type thing. The off spawn thing will be there. I still want to say that, you know, if they end up breaking through, if RNG's on their side, you know, I guess it's just a blanket ass statement. They can still come top 3, like because when they get height and they pop off, and they end up
2 days of finals with 2 days of finals. No way in hell.
True.
Oh,
no way.
I actually like when you bring it 2 days of finals. I'm like, hold up, actually, you know, like
you think that's enough? You think that's enough chances to then like, all right, put it aside, maybe get the 6 that you need and like win. Because that's really what it takes, right?
I think it depends on where Gabe, Tavi, and Sprite end up and what they decide to do.
That is true.
I think that's
what they decide to
what
do is very important. I think it's important for the entire lobby, like who they decide to land on, because they're really good. Like that's the problem. Like they're really good.
Interrupters.
Straight up.
One sick thing is just go up to like first place real quick. Like scroll up. Look at the amount of Canadian teams, baby. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Let's
hold the
fucking
flag.
Go. Yes, sir.
Holding the
Let's
flag,
go.
Yes.
Let's
what
go.
Are you saying, bro? Get out of here.
Have that,
Yo, beef, Lupian and Nick though. Console boys.
Wait, who? Beef,
Lupian and Nick.
Beef, Lupian and Nick. What happened with
bro?
them?
Look at the elims.
I think that was.
They got grief.
Look at the placements. Like
no, their placements are kind of solid. Like decent, right? All things considering. And then last game, they actually get hard griefed out, held in a storm by a full team. They could have been. They would have.
That was
definitely qualified. They would have definitely qualified this week. They were targeted.
Wasn't that their fault? Wait, they were targeted? Oh, is there like?
I'm almost certain hard.
Like,
yeah.
Who was the assassinators?
Someone at the bottom, dude. You know how it goes. Yeah, like you know how it goes.
Crazy. It's like everyone's a normal citizen of society, and then suddenly you got like CEOs and then like henchmen down below. We're just waiting there, scarred. Like, who's tossing the bag?
That's how it be. Like,
we getting?
That's the story, though, right? Like we see this all the time.
I could probably just pull up the.
I'm trying to see if I go to one of their Twitters.
Yeah, let me pull up the moment.
The craziest thing on the bottom of the board as well, I think it's actually pretty cute, is 29th and 30th, send animal, and then 30th send aspects.
Oh, really?
Right
That's
there,
adorable.
side by side. Right. Yeah.
That is adorable.
55-49. What is happening with those two trios, man?
Dude,
I guess I put too much money into the basket of Animal High Sky AV, but I feel like they should have the potential to poppity pop.
Was it Nanolite?
It was Nanolite, yeah.
Nanolite.
I got the game.
Sitting in the bush, full team, waiting for them to rotate through.
This continues into the zone.
Yeah. And then they get held all the way through.
No, this was a mistake on their part. I don't. Why? Like, how were you down underneath a bridge like this in second zone? Or first
they
zone,
were above
even.
the bridge. They were above the bridge rotating.
No,
Nanolite and them were sitting
ETB,
in the bush. Before this. And then they get chased down and then they sit on them the whole time in the zone. Come on, that's not a grief. High ground has first.
Wait, but this is
high ground has first
this
chance
is not
to
targeted.
disengage.
This is not. You're implying that now.
I mean, not targeted. I'm saying more so like literally. Their tournament, they're at 61 points right now.
Okay, you gotta be careful, man. Place. If you're gonna be the fucking guy who's saying these guys don't know what to do with the platform,
Nanolite, why did you target them when you knew they were in second place and you were at the bottom?
I mean, these guys, Nano ETB Vexifier, right? This just feels like an ETB moment. Like they gotta do
this
something.
Last game was awful.
Yeah, like you're just like, this team's here, they're boxed up, they're not moving. We got 60 points. Like let's just kill these guys. Maybe we it's depressive vibes.
Look. So here's the deal. I watched the Twitter clip. So they hit 2 shield tags, and then okay, fine, 2 shield tags, whatever. Yeah, we're filling it. Let's go. Right? These guys base up. They sit there, and then they stay there all the way through to the zone. Like there's a minute and a half before the zone touches them, and they stay there.
It was
like
bad.
That is a bad play on Nanoline's side. ETB and Vexifier, right? Like outright.
I will say though, I still think that they could have gotten out of that situation. It was like 4 minutes, bro, and they're not moving. They're not trying to get away. They're not doing anything.
Because they have hella loot. They're in second place.
Yeah, come on.
Okay, so where's the hella loot at, bro? Leave.
Enough to stay there for 4 minutes. That's where the loot went. Staying alive.
Why not
this is the NAE's classic. This is the NAE's classic. It's them. They're in a good position. They're like, yeah, okay, we got to get out of this. And then all of a sudden the team comes and they start holding them. They're like, oh fuck, we're getting griefed. Box up. Stay here. They gotta leave. Like we're getting griefed. They're sitting there like, what is happening? You know, that's the NAE's classic. Just get out of there. Go and get yourself a fucking way out. I know it's gonna be rough. You have the opportunity. Like, you don't give yourself the opportunity to get out, then of course that's gonna happen. You know, take the chance, try to get there. I know it's a big risk, but you have to take the risk. It's either that or you lose.
Yep. So that's a lesson learned right there. Sitting there, too passive, didn't expend the material, and then the storm does what the storm does, puts pressure to force them to fight. Then they get taken out mad early. Qual chance gone.
Yep.
What's happening with Niddlecast or Smacked? Why are they still Dookie Butter?
Is that a retail world uncontested this season, eh?
Yeah, well,
right?
not
If
this
I'm not
season.
mistaken?
Last time they were contested. This time they were uncontested, if I remember correctly.
Well, that's what I mean, like for this tournament.
I thought they were getting horse fed when they were contested as well. They were just winning, no? Off spawn.
They were winning their spawn fight too, and I think that was up against like what's it called, Elysian them. They were fighting them for a while at the drop spot retail world. They were definitely winning. Like
Yeah, they were probably top 4 at one point in the day with that first early on, and then they just
Casker smacked.
Black.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. They had a decent game 2 where they win. I think it's the game that we're watching right now.
But then what's the issue? Like, this is a top tier team.
I don't know. Is it a top tier team?
I would say so. Yes.
I didn't. I don't.
I think they looked good when they won, but just looking at, I don't know, dude. It looks like they're rotating right into Saf and them, and they're having a tough time, bro, getting past Lazy Lake, like straight up. And then you think about who's to their north. It's Reverse 2K, Mero and Day. Wherever the hell, if they decide to come from dirty and then sit on your rotate or go north, right? That's another determining factor. So they're in a tight position because you already know how Saf and them play. They're holding bushes. They're holding weird spots.
Coming out of retail is hard this season because
so hard.
Let me go up to the placements real quick just to remind what happened this week. Saf, Stretch, and Avery did very well as Day, Mero, and Reverse. So Monster, you're alluding that's right in between those two teams.
Between them. And then remember,
Saf, Avery, and Stretch were hard trying to like get the position that Day, Mero, and Reverse would want, which was very interesting. I wanted to talk to that for a bit, but that leaves that team in a weird spot. They have no real place to go for power position for Surge. Like, they're in a strange situation. Maybe they go down to Caddy and rotate out through Misty, like that kind of idea. But really depends on zones. Really depends on a lot of situations.
If you look at what Saf, Stretch, and Avery are doing, so like they're doing the weird shit where they put one player in the bush, build their towers the way they normally do, but they're taking that mountain early so they can see all the way down to the spire, all the way down. Like, they control the river, right? So you're not getting a free river rotate. Like, it's just their control. I think on the field look very, very interesting.
I think they are fighting. I'm looking at their placements. I think they must be, right?
33rd that last game. Yeah.
Maybe the last game. I swear they were uncontested, but maybe I'm hard tripping.
Unified fall damage?
Unified fall damage? Maybe, yeah.
Unified fall damage?
The whole team, they all got taken out in 3 minutes. Like, how does that even happen?
Unified fall damage. I feel like they had unified fall. We may never know. One team that kind of just slipped the cracks right here we need to talk about. We're not going to talk about Saf, Stretch, and Avery because gods, blah, blah.
No, what? Come on. Of course we're going to talk about them.
Or yet. I just want to mention Dom, Dusky, and Spade. We were talking last week about all these, like, you can see it again on this page. If we just look at the top 10, the newer rise of like the next generation of players inside the FNCS. One of them, making that top 3, I think once again. I forget the first week's calls, but these guys rolling in 3rd place, started their story in terms of, like, overall legend status, or was it like a one-off week?
I think they got lucky, to be honest. Like, remember, we're going to have teams like this. Lucky in a sense that we have 6 of the other best out of the equation, right? Like, there's room for
the gap. Yeah.
There's room for the gaps to be filled. This is why you see Carry, Thatch, Beat. Like, you see all Quad, Nico, Paper, like, Justice, Dictate. These guys have always been up to the top. They make their top 10 appearances.
What's their type?
But they're not.
Like, which top team do they play like? What gap are they filling?
What gap are they filling? Adija and Ages and Skittles, mid-ground, right? Like, just... No, like, they know how to play the game. They know how to change their layers. They scrim all day. Like, you know what I mean? They're just smart players, know how to be efficient. I think that's why you see these, again, the Nico, the Peeper, the Quad, the Justice Dictator. Like, these guys know how to play Fortnite very well because of their scrim experience. I think we're just watching, like, high level rinse and repeat in action straight up, and it just worked out, like, outright. Like, strategy. I think we're just watching strats just, like, play out, and they didn't fail.
Yeah, I think they fall into the group of a lot. I don't know if it's whatever.
It's not even great though. Look at their placements. Like, it's not even like phenomenal or anything. It's just like they just did okay. Like
I think there's a lot of teams right now who don't actually. When you say lucky, Maybe I go into that field where there's a lot of these teams right now who are winning games. For example, I put Justice Dictate users slightly higher than what I'm rating right now. But like, okay, here, Cold FV, I don't know how to say this guy's name, and Crip, Sean. Okay, so this team, for example, had one really good pop-off game, and then the rest of it's like very middling. It's like they don't really have an idea on how to recreate this. You know, it's just one way it happened. They try it again, and they don't have the adaptations game to game to be able to actually make it work again. You know, that's why the great teams are where they are, is because they're able to adapt to a bunch of different zones, a bunch of different teams doing different things, and the rest of the pack, they could have a good game, but they don't have that skill yet, and that's gonna come with time. I put Dom, Dusky, Spade in that bucket, even though some of these guys have been grinders for a while. I still don't think that they have the adaptation skills to really repeat, you know, a good performance or two. And that means that they could get top 3, but not in the grand finals. That means they can qualify for grand finals, but when it comes to that, it's not going to be something that I think I don't rate them super high right now. I think it's rising compared to Justice Dictate and users who some way, somehow are doing it week after week. Same kind of issue where it's like game to game, they're only having 1 or 2, and then everything else is kind of middling. But they're doing it week after week after week. You know, they were almost qualifying last time. They got a last game win with a ridiculous amount of elims as well. So I put them at the top of that, you know, list where it's like they don't really have it figured out yet.
I like that entire idea of good zone versus good game. They know how to play good zones versus play good games. And then another like GZGD trio would be Pledge, Pandush, Gonzo. Same type beat, right? Like a lot of people on this page rolling in with like the performances that we always see. When it's a good zone, they know how to manipulate it. They're there. But then the ideas for how to play a good game, the strengths in their trio, it's not always there, so to speak.
Maybe. And respect to Dom, Dusky, and Spade though, like because they went back to back like on the days in a sense, like a second place and then a top 3. So still impressive overall, like what they're doing right now. So not to discredit them, like as far as what they got going on, this could be their breakout. You know, like I said, these are teams that have very much been there. These guys all make their appearances. Yeah. It's only a matter of time before you get on fire, right? Like, exactly. They're literally there. I mean, Jack Acorn and Slacks only took them a little bit, right? And then all of a sudden they were just untouchable. And right now it's their time. There's going to be teams like Dom, Dusky, Spade, etc. It could just be their time, and we're seeing the first start of that. And I don't think you can count out about any of these teams like in the top 10. Or like I say about top 7 or so. Dude, it could like just be their time.
I feel like NA East is this crumble of people or of teams right now who are
a lot of them
who number one, they can play open matchmakings, they can play semis, they can play round 1, round 2, round 3, and they're going to be here much more consistently than a lot of even the teams that people consider top teams right now. And because of that, they're going to get better. They're going to figure it out. They're going to understand. But I feel like there is a significant portion of teams right now in NA East that are in that evolution process, I guess, where half the lobby is those teams and the other half, well, not even the half. I feel like there's only like a small percentage of the top NA East elite teams right now because all of them are in grand finals already, or they're doing like what Bizzle is doing, you know? It's like a very small percentage of them right now. Everybody else is figuring it out.
The entire scene is changing. It's just reshaping itself. And now we're just starting to give more attention to those other teams that are coming up. It's their time.
Is the word like Renaissance then? Instead of re-evolution, like Renaissance would be the
that's a good word. Yeah, there you go. It's Renaissance.
And the East Renaissance. If you're looking at like just looking at Dom versus Saf for just a second, like basing it off their placements and their elims and whatnot, it feels like they're pretty similar, second and third, like performance wise, in terms of how they rolled out of the day. Saf rolling in with just one game more of like a better placement, like they repeated the thing in the second place. Placements otherwise look like pretty similar. So one game's worth of a difference. And I think
when you look at this, like just placement wise, I think Saf, Stretch, and Avery did significantly better.
Significantly, I would disagree.
I say significantly. A first, a second, a fifth. That's amazing. And then like 11 and a 14th minutes alive.
But look at Dom's. Like the only difference is they have a first and a fourth. They're in that equation.
And then no other single digit. and a
Yeah,
very
okay,
low
they
placing
have
20.
they have one less single digit, but they have the top tens, or the close to top tens.
Close. You're right.
And they have the one top 20. Like, I just feel like it's a very similar performance of the day.
The numbers doesn't really matter. I mean, when you watch Saf, Stretch, and Avery, it's a completely
Different
eye test. Like,
yeah,
their plan is so good every game.
right.
I mean, I'm not looking at Dom, Dusky, and Spade in that light right now, but maybe I will in the future. I personally didn't see that this time around. Next time we get to see them, maybe I'll be watching them a little bit more intently. But
that is a good point, though. Like a really good trio. You look at them, you know, like their style and their strategy, like what they're trying to execute.
Mm-hmm.
A really good trio. You just know what they are trying to execute. So it could just be negligence on our part. Like, okay, Dom, Dusky, Spade. Like, what is your style? What are you trying to execute? And then when you know that, now you can really look at their gameplay. Say, okay, how good are they doing that? Because right now there's a someone in the lead for each of those compartments, whether it's low, mid, high, early game, like whatever, right? Fighting.
Who contested Aspect, Kaz, and Who Fishy this week?
It was 3 teams.
Ooh, Pleasant Park, that was nasty.
Yeah, that was
and
ridiculous.
then Knight and them changed their strategy this time. Instead of contesting them head on at the draw spot, they go outside the draw spot. They let the other team do the hard work. Then they come in and sit on them, which was a problem because they didn't have an actual execution plan. They had hey, let's get here. What do we do? Right? That was their thing. And then they just sat on them. And the drawn out fights, it's just rinse and repeat. It doesn't work that way.
I think the only season that Night Shark, even AV, honestly, ever, like, I think for AV there's a little bit more room, but the only season they ever come clapping back is if we get another outside POI. Like, I feel like there's a complete removal of them right now on the map. I think
it was the Yacht
the
and
issue.
Fortilla.
The Yacht and then Fortilla, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just, these guys are missing the way they play the game.
And I thought them adding Clarity was gonna be like the sauce, because Clarity's nice.
Yeah, he's a smart player. He's
experienced. He knows he plays well on whatever trio he's been on. Like, as far as just like improving the trio he's been on, I guess, right? Because he's been on so many and they never were like terrible. You can never, any Clarity trio that he's been on, you never look at him like these guys are trash, right? It's like, oh damn, these guys are like, hell yeah, they got a shot, or like they win a game, or you know what I'm saying? They do big shit. So when I saw Xset with Clarity, I was like, ooh, Xset's really been in the gutters lately. Maybe, Clarity's a stat booster. Like, this guy's been, he has a good, he's like, he's got the good track history. He's got the history of making teams. Like, he's never been on a bad team. So.
No, but I feel like he's always like, filling in. Like, they just need a very good leader rolling through. Before, I feel like that was AV on the rotates.
Mero's so good.
Yeah, this game player.
Best refresher.
He's back up. That's crazy.
It's I hear that they never get into good situations. In the past, like 2 seasons, they're I mean, like the season before where they were landing Fortilla with AV, it's always W King Holly Hedges when there's already a plan for the.
They fixed it at the end. Like,
did they? Okay.
They put in so much work, because that was one trio I was really closely following the behind the scenes as well. They finally fixed it in the end, and I feel like it might be just a little bit ignorant to say this, but maybe like all the work they put into there and all the conditioning they did for that, once it got removed, maybe it was fatigue or exhaust, but like playing other spots of the map just was not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was just it was such a huge part of them crafting their game, right? And then crafting comes to the game, and then like the whole map switches up as well.
It's like changing your keybind.
Yeah, like
change your keybind. It was just rough. It feels weird.
That playing from Fortilla, man, like playing on that side as a log jam connoisseur myself, it's a very different. I've skinned in the game. It's a very different way of thinking. It's like it's the same way of like playing Craggy or like playing off a spot of the map that's not central on a big general POI that you can't dictate from high ground. Like, it's such a different way of playing Fortnite. And Knight and Shark already got like dislocated when Yacht was removed. You know how easy it is to play it from a spot like Yacht or like Deadpool's boat, where you have like a 2v2 skirmish that really isn't dictated that much by position, but more so decisions. So they're at decision-making drop spots, right? Decision-based drop spots. And now they're all throughout the map, I feel like it's all position-based drop spots. There's not many decision ones left. I feel like Hunter's Haven was a sick one in terms of decisions. I felt like, Fortilla, all these outside ones were dope. But now it's all about getting like that power spot. Maybe Misty is a little bit decision-based, but a lot of the times it's just pure degenerate warfare.
I don't remember a season. I don't remember a season where a Pleasant Park team did well. It's been so long. Like, it's just a tough spot.
Pleasant's also decision, but dude, the play, like once again, spots like Pleasant, spots like Retail, it just goes down to like, crazy random slashes of swords. Like no one really ends up thinking too much. There's a vault involved, or there's a timer on you because you don't have zone. It gets kind of crazy. I think that entire idea is what nerfs that trio.
I think they were better off spawn this weekend than
but like I said, they changed their drop, so they were coming in last to the Aspect.
I know.
Kaz fight.
Even in
and
the fight
still
itself,
dying sometimes.
The entire plan was better. I just feel like the circumstances were absolutely awful, dude. They were getting W keyed by C-Plit, who for some reason is putting himself in that weird situation. They were getting W keyed by the team that was there already. Like, it was just really bad. I think that if they had made that adjustment going into last week, for example, they would have came out 4-2 or something like that. Because the way that Knight is getting his flanks off, the way that he's sneaking is starting to look very good to me. It's just the circumstances are too much to deal with, where there's no situation where it's actually going to work. It might work at the beginning, but then they're getting keyed by other teams as well. Pleasant is just a minefield right now. They need to leave. If they don't leave, I don't see them doing very well at all, either of these teams.
And Split and them are landing Stealthy Stronghold, and they're literally wiping Mars Nexi in them a lot of the times on drop. Ooh, or it's going the other way. So that's another team that I think does really well when they're going. But Mars beats himself up. He gets in his own head, and I think he sweats under pressure.
What is happening with that trio? Because last week they came 33rd. Like they were literally bottom of the barrel. This week was it a repeat almost? 32nd.
Yeah,
like
they were losing. They're the first team to lose, and it's against Split in his trio. And Split is really good. He was,
they're just playing scared. Mars, Nexi, and Crumbler are just playing completely scared.
And that's the thing. I think Mars just gets in his own head. He says it himself on stream. If you listen to his perspective and stuff, it's not that he doesn't know how to play. It's just finals. He literally can't handle the pressure. He is feeling like he's fucking nervous. You know what I mean? He just plays bad. He plays bad on
round 3. They come in looking so good, confident. This week they play 2 less games in general, that they're popping off in terms of
the
when
mentality.
I'm watching. Yeah,
mentality kicks in. That's his problem.
They're a team that is literally brought up with this idea, with this. I'm very good at the matchmaking formats. I mean, that's what they do. They play arena all day. Now you start to see the loss of playing scrims, playing customs, and all that. Like Mars did at the very, very, very beginning of his career. When he first started popping off. Now it's just they're good at the other formats. They don't have the confidence in this type of format because every single player is good. Every single player.
If they stay consistent, though, it'd be fun to see how he plays in solo invitational. Because I feel like no matter what, if you're swimming or if you're popping off, the way you play,
playing scared in solos is good.
Well, Crumble was popping off too during the solo season. No, don't forget,
Crumble was good in the duo season. They were good.
So Crumble. Yeah, and it's crazy to see Crumble at the bottom because he was making a lot of top 10s. He was one of those guys, just in that conversation, holy shit. It was Crumble. It was actually Crunchy was up there too at the time. These up and comers, right? That was Crunchy, Crumble, Mero. They were all in that same bucket of damn, we're seeing some new good players. Holy, okay, they can keep this up. Crumble's probably the only one of that group. Who Fishy kept going, right? So right now we're seeing Who Fishy and Crumble kind of into decline right now in the team base game modes.
Yep.
As opposed to what they were doing in the smaller base game modes. So it could just be that too. Who knows?
Also, there hasn't really been a DreamHack in a while, which in my mind is a practice for them for stuff like FNTASIA. But yeah, I think if they were uncontested or against a team who was less alpha in a sense, then they might have better success. But right now, it's just that's not their play style, and it's not working very obviously.
Do you guys have any other highlight things for NAs?
Yeah. Saf, come on, let's talk about him. You're trying to avoid it for some reason. I don't know why.
No. That's completely unintentional. I thought we were supposed to have a mini. Let's talk about it then. Saf, Stretch, Avery, Monster. Your thoughts in terms of just looking at them this weekend?
I like it. I like where they are. I didn't want to hype up so here's the thing. I didn't even during the cast, I was not trying to celebrate the fact that Zay's gone and Avery's doing well. No, Saf is really good. And now I think we get to focus on Saf being really good, Stretch being really good. I think Avery's a solid player, and it's clearly working. But most importantly, their weird strategies are still they're still very much playing that weird, unorthodox, using bushes. Like their strategy is still there. So I think that's what I love most about this team is they're clever, they're sneaky, and they do like just weird stuff that a lot of teams don't do. The way they set up for the engagements and set up to like literally be like, yeah, we're holding the mountain first kind of deal. There's not a lot of teams that I think kind of use that classic, Fortnite style, and they're still have that very classic mentality, high ground plays, capitalizing on zone 6 type shit. Like their style is really good. Basing up big on half, right? When you don't have to commit, but they do because they're like, we're looking at height, and they make height feel that pressure. Their dynamic in the game is just so different. It's very classic, and that's what I love most about that team. So I like that even though Zayd's gone, they haven't lost that. That's what's going to make them stay successful.
Yep.
So that's why I'm attributing it to now put the story and put the respect on Saf, because it's clear that he's got it.
He clearly contributed because
Yep.
This is vintage Zayd and Saf from back in the day, from squads, from trios.
That's the word right
Literally
there.
Vintage from this trio, but they have the added flair of having much more depth in endgame. Previously, if they don't have height, I'm writing them off. Like, they're not doing well. They might have somebody who's trying to call like a top 12 type of thing. These guys have depth. They can play when they don't have height. They can play as a full trio when they don't have height, which is very, very, very scary because it's always that moment previously where it's like, oh, they're going for height. Oh, they didn't win it. Oh, they're about to die. They're going to die like this. Boom. Now they go for height. Oh, wait, hold on. They can't get it. All right. They're continuing to play on mid ground. And they have Stretch, who seems renewed in his ideas of being able to play in the clutch. I don't know how many times I see him clutch like extra placement. Avery too. Saf will do it too. Saf feels like another monster. I don't know. There was one game where he got like the last like 4 elims or something like that. I think the game that they end up cleaning up, they just drop down on low ground. His pump is insane. Like absolutely insane.
He's on his commandment type beat. Like he's hitting right now.
He is hitting. He's hitting. And their plans are so good. I'm so happy to see them in a center map drop spot again, where they have no beef. They don't have to worry about anything. They can just focus on the game. Last couple seasons, it was too damn much of them being off on the side, contesting at Pleasant, like up on the side of the map. They're not even playing the center map. And then you can see them trying to get these ideas of position going on, but like they can't because they're like too late in the rotations. They're also off spawn fights. So like it was just shambles for them previously. Now, dude, it is scary. They were legitimately targeting the places that Reverse 2K, Day, and Mero were going for because they're thinking about these things. They literally based up from Lazy Lake. They drove because the zone was good for them. They drove over to the side of Dirty Docks and started getting surge tags on Reverse 2K, Day, and Mero. Like, how smart is that? Like, how smart is that? Just completely impacting a team like that. And then they get up in these weird situations, box to box against them, and they survive. Whereas other teams don't. They just don't against Reverse 2K, Day, and Mero. If they need surge, you're dead. You know?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen because there's ideas, there's plans. They're split basing in trios where we haven't seen that in ages. Fuck! I got to see Monster's dumbass face. They're split basing, like 5th zone right before it. Like, so many good concepts that they're still bringing, they're still maintaining. They are going to be very consistent, both at winning games and playing other places and clutching up too. They have everything right now.
I feel like that's like a lost. You think of it like a lost art, right? It's like a lost form, like the split basing, the clever plays. There's no other trios are doing it. We're just stuck in this low ground, got to pop off kind of mentality, etc. There's still teams that want to play for height, right? The Bucky, Kanata, Macwood type trios and stuff like that. So you can't just write off high ground being for free or anything this season. Slack, Acorn Jacks, yada yada. But they're again that classic, that vintage play style, I think is what will always make them be so like you can't counter them if you're not playing that style, if you're not in that mindset. They're already playing a whole different style you're not even practicing against. And I also think it's important that Stretch is leading the scrim community right now, like in the practice server, in the elite and stuff like that. So he's actually taking very seriously right now. So when you say a renewed Stretch, I think he's feeling himself just like in a sense that like he is literally growing to leadership. And that's cool as hell because I feel like his social presence has been pretty good too. Like at least private messaging that I've had with him and stuff. I feel like he's maturing, like just outside of the bullshit, right? He's not in that cesspool.
Just don't catch him at 4 a.m. on Twitter. Just
right?
I was about to say.
But like I do feel like he's had his strides of maturity. And that's probably going to go a long way too, because Saf is not one that really entertains that kind of stuff either. They were the first ones to come to Bizzle's defense, right? Like, yo, you guys are bugging. Like, this is an OG. I was like, this is why I like you guys, right? Like, because they've been doing good stuff. They try to be
which
good.
is hilarious because they were the ones who kind of started the beef against.
They're also instigators. Yeah, I was gonna say they're also instigators. So let's not forget that. But
yeah, impressions from both sides.
Dude, look,
point. My question is
when they're uncontested, that like we were talking about how being contested can affect them in terms of like Bizzle clicks in them and how it's affecting them and their mentality down the line as well. But when you're uncontested, the same things happen. I definitely feel that a renewed ideas for both Stretch and Saf and potentially Avery too is really, really good. Sorry, Sha.
No, I was gonna say like it's basically a conversation on that. Like, what is the weakness? Why wouldn't they get top 3 rolling into finals? Like with this talk of how they have such an organized game, the performance you're looking at in qual 2, the close performance in qual number 1. Like, what's
this is gonna be a win.
Okay.
I'm calling it right now. What I saw from this week is this: they're gonna win. They're gonna win FNTS, bar like easily. I see too much.
I can't. I have no counter to that. Like I said, I think low ground is gonna have. They're gonna end up defeating themselves. Like Mero, Reverse, DJ, like or Day included. Like I think all those low ground teams are gonna have more problems with themselves, and the end game is just gonna be really hard for their style to try to win that way. And because of that, I'm putting it on DJ and Age or Skittles type playstyle. Saf, Stretch, and Avery are they're just so unorthodox and they're really good right now, and that gives them a fighting chance. And then Slash, Acorn, and Jack seem to have the full package right now. They're just fucking they're killing it.
Yep.
They're on fire right now.
I just think that the style that they're going for is going to work very well in this meta. With no mobility, the way that they're positioning themselves every single time. If you look for them in second zone, they're already in the best spot in the map. Just because of that center zone preference, they have the RNG on their side with center zone. Like, there's none of that. Like, center zone sucks in this meta at all. It's just so good. It is very, very good, and they get the respect where nobody's messing with them right now. Lazy Lake's not a problem. I think there are a couple lazy teams that are really not doing well at the moment. So we'll have to see if that still continues, especially this week coming up. But yeah. I feel very, very confident with this team.
And the conversation is basically who's getting second, third, rolling in finals. I still feel like
well, I
think teams will try to adapt, and I feel like when people start to go stir crazy and understand what things look like, because if we're seeing it,
if Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite, right? If Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite make finals though, that's the team right there. Low key sleepers. I'm telling you, they're just going
to be problematic, man.
If they have uncontested sweaty, Gabe, Tahi, Sprite, I think are coming.
They're not gonna have uncontested sweaty wherever they go.
Whoever makes it out of semis.
Either.
No, I think there's genuinely a possibility of them having uncontested sweaty coming into.
I think they make it out of semis into finals, and Booga, Bizzle, Clicks don't. Like
you can't be like the qualification for semis now is also a lot higher. Yeah. Like top 6 is going to be a lot more difficult. Consistency in the middle of the pack.
I think that goes to Monster's point though.
I think they
come
do
on,
it.
They're going to win a heat. They're going to win a heat.
They did so well last
time. Like they actually just shit on their heat.
I mean, if they end up in the same heat, if they end up in a heat that's contested, like that's going to be the tragic point, you know. I feel
that's for any team though. To be fair,
dude, nobody is going to their. If somebody goes to Sweaty Sands when either of those teams are in, they are literally throwing. If they're an outside perspective watching this right now, it's idiotic. No matter what, no matter how long you have history, I don't care how long your history is. You have no, absolutely not. I think I see more Monsters possibility than anything else. Where, well, I could see both of them qualifying for Grands, and the saga continuing. But I think that
if they're in separate heats,
I think that Tahi, Gabe, and Sprite, getting through to grands and Bizzle and them not making it to grands right now is more of a possibility than the other way around, where Bizzle and them make it to grands and Tahi and them don't.
And then I think if they make it all the way to grands, no one wants to land on them, like straight up. So they get sweaty uncontested, like in full.
Yep.
True. All right. With that, I think the only other person I wanted to touch on were the fourth place trio of Pamsu, Carey, and Fatch, but their story's kind of been the same 24/7 in general. You know,
shit, what the hell is this? I didn't get to see them at all in broadcast, so I literally don't know what, but this is crazy. What the hell?
Yeah, it's definitely a glow up from before. I'm not sure how they were allowed to do this in terms of like broadcast wise. Monster, if you have like an in on if you saw them anywhere in end games or how they were playing, because usually
there's always that sleeper team that's like up there and you're just like, where, right? Or win a tournament. It's like, how the hell, like, where'd they come from? This is just one of those ones that they just so happen to miss the radar as far as the broadcast coverage, as far as like who they are, right? Like, obviously we know them from practice server, like scrims type stuff and that kind of beat. So that's why, right? Like, you know what I mean? So that's why I coupled them with, you know, the others like Justice Dictate users and Qual, Nico, Paper.
I don't.
I did,
because I felt like the what's it called, the quad like Dictate, Qua, Paper. I feel like this is like the Renaissance type teams coming through.
Yeah,
that recently are getting big globes in comp, but these guys have been playing for such a long time. Like since World Cup days.
Well, before that,
I think all the scrim kids that were like just on the bubble, like, you feel me? That, you know, like, all right, the best of the worst of the best right now are on the come up. Like whoever the worst of the best were before.
Carey and Fatch used to be the best of the best at either some notable weeks or at some certain points. Like there were people.
That's a you call.
I understand that's a me call. I'm saying that they've had their, like, comparatively to, you know, like Justice Dictated users. These guys have had peaks, like very high peaks in their placement and career, like in the past. I'm talking about like in that separate bubble. This is followable, guys. Come on, 100%.
I'm following. I just disagree. I don't think that they've had high peaks. I think they've always been middle of the pack. Yeah, they've gotten to grands and stuff like that, but high peaks. Have they won a tournament? Have they gotten top 3 in tournament?
I'm saying comparatively to like the
yes, I agree with that point.
Like
yes,
Cole,
okay. Compared,
Crip, like,
yes, they're not part of this renaissance at all. Yeah, I mean, you just look at the placement. They know what the fuck they're doing. Like, how the hell do they do this? They know what the fuck they're doing. They have a plan that's consistent, that is irrelevant to the zones and whatever. You know, there's no noise here. This is unbelievable.
Talking about peaks, I feel like they've peaked here.
Yes.
I'm not sure if they can break in further than this one. You say no, Monster. Why?
I say no because I think the top tier pro scene is decaying and like there's room for new faces. I'm not saying they're up there yet. I think what I'm saying, like, these are all the next steps. Like, we're gonna look back and one of these teams, 2 of these teams are gonna be the dogs, like, on the space. Like, you're gonna be like, these guys been killing it since
that's treating every team with the same history. Like, these guys have history, and that's why I can't rate them higher than like, I think this is their peak. Like, I agree with you completely. The history says that they are always a middling team. So if they're like, this is above the average, then they're gonna go back to average.
Yeah, because I don't know what like their flair is in terms of, like, I've seen them on heights so many times. They're like they're the poster boys of poster boys. You know what I mean? Like the people who are getting dunked on. And that sounds so bad, but like, it's usually when I see Carey Fasher or Pamsu on height, like they're the ones getting retaken.
Yeah, they ran out of mats. They get contested.
That's where headshot type comes in. So like, I feel like they fixed the survival or like they took themselves off the poster this week, right? But I still don't think they're in positions to be the MVP of the night. Like they're not in positions to have that flair to come out on top. It's cool to see them at 4th, and I hope they can prove us wrong. And this is not their peak, but I don't know. They had the best average placement in the entire school. Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
That's insane. Yeah. And a reason, by the way, why they wouldn't be in 4th probably till the last game because of the way that their placements went. Right, this is a consistent ride up to the top, whereas everybody else is up and down and up and down. So for them, it's literally going to be like 20th place, slowly rising up. very
Yeah.
slow, so they never get noticed, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's like when leaderboard section comes up on broadcast. Oh wow, these guys are in 15th. Now they're in 4th. Big ups to them. Moving onward. It's like
Well, it's not even that, right?
depth.
It's like 15th to 12th to 8th to 6th to 4th. You know, it's just like so long and slow.
So this is a Misty Meadows team right here. I'm looking
Misty
up.
team.
Yeah, so they're landing Misty. So does that change your
Right.
perspective?
Now it's closed.
Misty's dead.
Like, in terms
No,
of,
I'm trying to close Shayo's book here. Like, I think it's yeah. So they're landing Misty right now. Granted success because of who's not there, right? For clear reasons. So okay, they have a good week. I think they have one more week to maybe pull themselves to grands because the spot might be theirs, and then grands. There's always teams at the bottom. They just might naturally end up there because they're not going to be with a draw spot, or they're going to be up against Scented, Edgy, and like whoever, right? Like however that ends up playing out.
yeah.
Granted, Misty's a big enough POI to split, but when you have a team wanting to play for first, you know how that goes.
Hey, prove us wrong.
All or nothing, right? So
I hope that's
yes. Big fans.
It's the most wholesome thing. 100%. Yeah. In terms of how the game is played, I think we're moving past the FNCS Qual 2. We'll see how Qual 3 looks with, what is it now, 9 less teams playing? Jesus Christ. That's going to be a high stakes, first of all, because, last top 3, but very different because every spot is basically open. Or at least there's 4 spots open on the map per region. Looking at the way the loot pool changed, I didn't get to see the direct results of this because I haven't watched Fortnite recently. That's happened just a few days ago. I've seen the way it's happened on Twitter though, but infantry rifle is in the game. Tac shotgun is in the game. They buffed the crafting parts on floor loot again. And then they also, what's it called? They changed some loot in like the bunker chests to get you guys I guess better weapons like mechanical ARs of higher tiers and pumps. But the thing with this that I saw on paper, when I saw it, I was like, yeah, let's go. And then I was like, wait, oh no. Like, infantry rifle, we've seen the issues with it in the past. Yeah, it's a cool skill-based weapon, but man, this thing hurts. It's so punishing compared to every other rifle in the game. And then the tac shotgun, adding this now into the mix with the makeshift there, with a lot of other things like the pump, with the slow-paced gameplay of what we were seeing in shotgun fights. Now it's gonna go kind of crazy. It's like hey, we had the primal for a bit. Here's the tac. I guess you guys are allowed to play again with this spammy play style and not have it clunky. What are you guys' thoughts?
I don't think the infantry rifle fits in the meta. Number one, so I think it's a bad comp. Like, cause you're getting search tags with bows right now, and it's just like a weird place. Infantry rifle is god tier. Bows are also good. The ARs suck, so it's like the teams that get the infantry are just like really, really good. I don't see it fitting in the meta right now. Maybe a different meta. Tac shotgun, I guess I don't really think that this changes much.
And I also just feel like this is like a vehicle meta too. Like there's a lot of cars, a lot of teams using vehicles as opposed to before, like when the baller was in the game. Or the infantry rifles in the game. I think it was baller season, and then I don't remember what other vehicle, but like vehicles are kind of hard to get tagged in already. Like that's why the AR is really good. So if you have an infantry rifle, you're hitting metal. Like you have way less chance to actually connect. I don't see it being as valuable.
Oh, I think it's hella valuable.
I don't think it's as good as having a rifle first shot accuracy. And everyone's getting scars.
We're in trios right now. Like get like one person with an infantry rifle, all of a sudden your team is like crazy. Yeah, all of a sudden your loadout, no matter what.
Like look at Mero, Day, all of them. They're just following up with straight up scars. Like this is why they're
give reverse an infantry now. All of a sudden his bow tags are even crazier. Like he's getting 190s instead of the 83 body tags or whatever because he just do like instant. Like. I think it's hell. The infantry
is dope.
It's insane.
It's a dope weapon.
I want to know if there's like, can it be upgraded? It can't. It definitely. There's no like primal or whatever.
Fire rifle. There's no.
No. That's not what I was asking. If it could be upgraded with mechanical parts. I guess like basically. Most likely not. Right.
I think it's as is. As is infantry rifle. Tactical shotgun. I've just busted. Like period to me. Piece controlling with that thing is just dumb.
Yeah, it's really good.
A lot of
does
bullets.
It change the meta? I don't think so.
I think it just makes it more frustrating in endgame. Someone's got
Frustrating.
frustrating. Who likes to go up against someone with attack when you're getting chased if they're on that W key shit? Like they're taking your walls, bro. They're throwing cones in, and that's the world we live in. They still have bullets left to finish you off. So I think the attack is frustrating. Whereas the primal was like, all right, they get in your box one, they can just unload and you're dead. This is like, this fight is going to go on for a long time. If they're better than you, they're eventually going to get you. Kind of how I feel about it. That's what the tack, golden tack, especially like.
My biggest thing, whether it fits in the meta or not, is this is in the middle of the season, man. I thought we were done with stuff like this.
Yeah.
Like I thought we were done.
This is a tournament.
This is
in
the
whole comp season.
I didn't mean season. I meant comp season. This is FNCS. Yeah, we're literally going to last week right now. And Grant, like what happened?
This is a meta change, and I don't think we should have a meta change mid-season. I'm down for all the other changes though, like improved fishing spots and all that kind of stuff. Like that stuff is dope.
This is good. The improved fishing spots, by the way, is a complete nerf to QREI. Like that's not possible anymore. Like as far as I can tell, because people who were trying the fishing strat, like I don't get enough small fry anymore because there's weapons now coming out of it.
The fishing strat change was, I think, for the squad cup that was coming around because they didn't want like in with 4 people fishing. Like that's where the issues were because we saw that in chapter 1. Of the FNTASIA, even with Slurpee nerfed, or season 1.
I don't mind, especially like mech parts changing as well. Like this stuff, it slightly changes some ideas, but a whole like loot pool change, getting back to different weapons and stuff like that.
It's just the idea of a meta change now, even if this doesn't change, like even if this changed nothing, the idea of the potential for a change at this point, why? You know what I mean? And at the points where we were asking for it earlier. Why not then? You know what I mean? Like,
hypothetically,
some type of disconnect.
Let me think outside the box here. Hypothetically, this meta change could negatively impact all low ground teams, right? Hypothetically, right? Now you have 3 shambles teams, tax in play, no one's safe. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter how much HP you have. If that tack is busting from the other side of the wall and you're fucking, you're in the zone, you're in the storm line, like, there's no more just like pump play in action. Like that time pump shot where you have to think, wait, time it, hit it, boom, get your refresher. Now it's like, bang, bang, bang. You're hearing that audio cue, all this stuff. This changes the meta, period. It could also really change low ground dynamic outright because now you have multiple, like this is a power weapon, like big time, low ground end game, low HP or whatever your situation is. So I think this really changes the game.
I think that people aren't receiving this and being like, oh, this sucks. Like the meta sucks now or anything like this, but
not yet.
But I think that is because, well, number one, they don't realize, or it's also pros like the infantry and stuff like that. So it's good. But I think that's bad practice because I think it's just bad to try to change. This is like the Deagle change before Secret Skirmish. You remember? Like where it's like, oh, and the plane change. It's like, oh, this is great. Like finally we're going to a good patch right before the tournament, but it was right before the tournament. What if somebody's plan and strat was based around their planes or whatever? Like now they just flew out to LA or whatever, the Secret Skirmish, and just hard die because their plans are not there anymore. These types of things should be avoided if we can. Just because we like the change doesn't mean that it should be added in the middle of a comp season.
I'm not a fan of legendary tech in Fortnite. Like I was okay with it not being in the game. Like I was more okay with primal. Like the primal just busted, whatever. Like I was more okay with primal than I am with like what you can do with the tag. I think it's way too versatile. Such a great weapon. Like
Jack of all trades.
Like bring the heavy shotgun. I think it's more of a like unique style and fire rate, whatever, right? Like you could do something with that, but it's not too overly versatile. Legendary tactics is so damn good in team-based game modes.
At least it's not like a World Cup level change where like the first 2 weeks were played in a completely different game compared to the rest of the competition in terms of loot pool. Will be interesting to see exactly how things delve down. I feel like it won't affect things too much, but I feel like you're right, Monster. Low ground will change.
This isn't the first thing though. I think later down the list we have even more. So.
Oh yeah, it's true. Let's check out first of all how things have been going on the comp scene past the loot pool inside game, outside game. The Aura scrims were the talk of the town last week, and there are a few changes before we get on to the next point because I think everyone watching understands what happened to the Aura scrims. But they made things even beefier. From what I saw and from the feedback, the games ended up actually being stacked, which is really nice.
Yeah, they were working. I saw some people going through replays. I actually watched. We talked about it last week, but they were stacked, and they even made it harder, so even more stacked. I don't know how player participation was in this last couple of days, but yeah, they tried really hard, and I think they succeeded. I think they succeeded after all the community was like, "This isn't gonna work."
Okay. So we're on the roller coaster. Success, big hype. Let's keep it going. I'm so happy, and then it's gone. Question mark emoji. What the hell's going on? What? Why? I don't understand.
They want the data. They want to see what they can do with it.
The data,
I think.
bro.
I think it's just a
short-lived troll, bro. Like,
yeah, but I think it's just short-lived. Like, it's like Arena. Like, it's really good. The grind of champions is lit. Like, people enjoy it.
This is scrims in practice. Like, the whole point of it is just to be there for everyone and culminate it. And
I agree with you.
Curate it over time. You can't just end it. Like,
test. It says right here, test event.
It's always a test, though. It really was always a test event. First of all, that was expected.
You guys know that. Like,
but what I'm saying is, this will work if they only bring it before in lead up to comp season FNCS, and then they take it away again.
The issue is we need something constantly. I understand it'll work better. It'll probably slap.
The reason private hub scrims work because you can action ban, curate it like straight up. That's the reason why it works.
Yeah.
Now the reason this won't work if it stays in the game, you cannot. They're not gonna cut people out for a W key in the lobby. Eventually, it won't get like that. That's what Arena becomes.
No one in there. I would just disagree with that because in those private scrims, it's like
this will become pubs with Siphon. Lit, mad fun, play the game, whatever.
Nah, you're tripping.
Nah,
I think so.
I feel like that's
Nah,
false.
absolutely not. This has Elo. Simple.
Yeah.
It has Elo. Ja, it's over. Like the fact
I think
there
the
is an
prestige of the
incentive to
mode
play
stays.
well. Yeah, I agree. I kind of agree with that, but I also think that they can get to a stage where it's like, okay, if they actually put time into it, they give starting Elo, they do this thing. Epic has way more tools than open scrims or stretch elite scrims have.
Exactly.
And they have, those tools are insane. They could tweak the Elo. They can make queues work at all times. You don't have to queue every 30 minutes. Like, you could see your points constantly, update every game, no matter what, without a delay that for Mayhem or War Legends or anything like that. Like, they have the tools to make this work. I fully believe. And the fact that they already proved half of the community wrong when they started off with a terrible system, and they're like, because it started off bad, it's because it had the prestige, and that's what you're going off of. Because it didn't have good prestige to start, it's never going to have good prestige later on. I kind of agree with that at the start, but it's obviously not the case.
I think if they do this and like roll it out like that, this will be able to be successful. But I think you have to build the prestige of it first.
I don't think
I think that is counterproductive to the actual incentive overall. I think they need to go to what Shio needs to be to have that prestige down the line, because guess what? All those people who played every single time, half of them got fucked the next day with no it was like full Discord server. It's like, you're bad, get the fuck out of here. You don't have champs.
Because like the thing is, Monster, if you W key the whole game, the change they made, the first change they made is, hey, healing points gone. It's placement. Let's see what happens. Or it was like literally, what was it? Healing point? I think it was like,
it was only placement points.
So what are you gonna do when you W key? It is not gonna do anything for you. And if everyone's playing placement and you try to push people's boxes, now you're getting third party. Even if it's bot Timmy Central 42 XD, like he has an AR and he's shooting you. And first of all, it's not, because he's not gonna get to 12k arena points. Like,
I just think people find genuine enjoyment in grief. Like, haha, this guy's trying. I'm really good. Shit on you.
They won't be in the Elo brackets.
They won't be in the Elo. They can't. You can't grief and rank up in this. That's the beauty of it.
I feel like you can when you're really good. Because what does a 20 bomb for a good team do? They still win, no matter what. Now you have all these chickens running around who's good at placement, yada yada.
It's not chickens, because it's not an open format. It's not there's not BK randoms there. Or if the BK randoms are there from Praco Rever, these guys are grinding the game. They're playing arena up to 12k points in this season. They're playing it up to, they even up the divisions more to like 15k, I believe. So it's like, you know,
I'm usually very optimistic for most topics.
Yeah.
I think this can work, but I don't believe in the players and their mentality and how they I don't know.
Dude, these guys who are playing this have to live and breathe the game and
then
understand
again,
formats.
Here's something else to think about. This was done in EU where EU doesn't really have the most structured.
Yeah, but EU has the most griefers when it comes to things like this, when it comes to
Right.
practice. And
So
they got ungriefed. So like if they can do it in EU and they've made it work, we are vibing. And you just need to have this on and tweak it as we go along. That's it. If you're saying they need to ramp it up for like FNTASIA and stuff, do that while it's active 24/7. Have extra time slots.
I think it'll come.
I think that's to be lit.
I think it'll come. I think they're gonna roll it out to NA East as a test one time, and then see how it's gonna go. And then
it's not online right now.
And then they're gonna why? Take it slow. Take it slow. Figure it out with the data. Figure it out and get the algorithms rolling. Like you know, starting elo so that every day doesn't reset and you're instantly in a good lobby without having to just W key and you know whatever. Like nah, we're chilling. I think this will be good. I'm very optimistic. I think Monster, you have because you've been dealing with it for so long, and I dealt with it for a while too. I understand where you're coming from, but with the technology that they have, the tools that they have, the time that they have, they're not in any sort of schedule. The player base that they can get, they can choose whatever they want. They can choose the grinders. They can kick out the pros that they want. They can do whatever they want. They get a whole new set of people. East Open doesn't have that luxury. We have to deal with the griefers that we have. You know?
Yeah.
Fortnite doesn't. Like Epic doesn't.
And yeah, like this can also be a revitalization of the game and comp overall too. Like how you like taking the game seriously again, right? Like it really will come off the back of the data that they get out of there and how they tweak the game. Because
if this was up at certain hours, I would still be playing. Not gonna lie.
I agree. I think this would be really cool to play, even if I'm in the lowest category of like elo. You know, you're like there's something about comp, right? That obviously draws everyone. Like you could be silver 3 in CS:GO, still fun. You want to hit Nova, like period, right? Like that's what this gives me in a sense. Like, damn, something to kind of play for. It could be really cool. But I hope that it's cool, like not just for me at the low level, but like at the highest levels. That's where if it doesn't work up there, because they just don't care, private practice, whatever, you know, drop spots, yada yada. Then that's what it is. Right?
Epic, from what I've seen so far, it looks like Epic is thinking the other way around, right? Where they don't give a fuck if it's working at high level, as long as it's working for the small guy. And I
they
think
want
that's
the player
good.
base. And that's smart.
And also, it's like high levels has its complete other issues to deal with. That
right.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to mess with the peer. I don't want to have any like public thing where it's like I'm banning, like just fuck off with this shit.
Imagine
I don't
like
need
barring
this.
Sway or Ops for like a scrim for a day, and then it's just like, oh my god, like that's just it's just tough. Moving along on the closures, there was like another thing. I think it was FFA test I wanted to talk about real quick. How did you guys receive that? I feel like towards the end of it, people were finally understanding what to use it for. The little warm up when hopping in. There was a lot of changes with the builds as well, back and forth. I'm not sure if I was talking about this with you guys or with anyone else, but wasn't you guys? In general, it was like people didn't like it at first because there weren't like building wasn't a part of it. Like I think this conversation was with Recent 11, but building wasn't a part of it, so it didn't feel like we were playing Fortnite, so to speak. But as soon as they added building, it kind of started to feel like Turtle Wars, and that was like that. We all know how good those are for warm up. And they kept upping the building as well as we moved along, and eventually got really good. So
cool, good. I'm glad that they're paying attention.
I didn't follow this. What the hell is FFA?
FFA is basically everyone just spawns into like a server, and they all
it was
just
a death match. It was a death match.
Okay.
I think towards the end of it, it started going really well, and people understood what it was for. And yeah,
cool. Once again, I think this is one guy at Epic trying his heart out to get some sort of other modes working, and I think it, he's getting the data that he needs. He's getting the proof that he needs.
But also,
maybe soon we'll come out with an Arena Zone Wars that is on the island. Maybe soon there'll be enough data for that, and it'll be lit. It'll be lit.
And I was gonna say, I think this all comes from like literally creative, like those type of that game mode in particular. Like when my 12-year-old Araya wants to get on and play, like she's playing that, like in the lobby where she's killing stuff, respawning. Like that is literally where she spends almost all of her time. So I think that is warm up, appeals to casuals and the casual player base and creative. That is probably one of their, if not their biggest type of mode being played round the clock. So it makes sense for it to be accessible at the home hub. So, because I could assume that like 50v50s are probably going down, right? Like they need to replace that with something that's whatever's next popular. This is probably it. Like that type of mode on the open world, maybe more players, like, right? Like you could do whatever the hell you want. So
yeah. And then we're all in agreement. We're all happy right now. And then as soon as I saw this, and I've been following a little bit. Happiness here and there. You know how it goes. Happiness is a nice, soft, small delight.
We're in the pursuit.
In the business, always in the pursuit, man. Always goes up and down like crazy. Young Console Tournament, it's finally fallen upon us. We've been talking about this mythical creature for about, I think, half a year now.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's the baby sound effect number 3. You know how it goes.
We got Monster on the podcast because he's the official console sellout in the community.
I am the console ambassador. Yeah. I'm here. I got you guys.
Dude, how many impressions have you farmed from console?
A lot, dude. Yeah, that's the Noti gang right there, man. Pay the bills on that one.
Let's go.
Yo, well, go ahead, Shio. Take.
No. What do you? What were your first impressions when seeing this monster? Were you vibing with it?
About time, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I was really not necessarily an advocate for them getting the FNCS removed or like not having their own track. I always have been the one like I just don't think they can compete with PC. Like, so how do you give them competition and still cultivate or like grow that community? Because that is the most players are there. They're playing right. They're putting up all the money, etc. Like that's the bank.
Okay.
You need PlayStation. You need Xbox, and they're not going anywhere. Only if you don't cater to them. So how many months? 5 months till they finally got their own unique tournament with big money. When before they were activating already like individual unique skin cups and stuff like that. So like I was just more thinking like why the wait? Because when they took FNCS, they promised them tournaments. And I thought they were gonna come off the gate like little 10s, 15s, like whatever, right? Even that is enough. They wait 5 months and drop a 250. I think it's a little bit out of like, whoa, this is crazy. It's kind of big, yada yada.
Yeah.
Not that the money really matters. I just think it's late.
Yeah, I feel like it was. Let's look at how this entire new FNCS format looks on paper. The first time around. Let's look at what room we have here and there.
I'm willing
to happens. Don't have a bye week, right? So we roll through there. It all looks good now. This structured one. This was announced between Qual 1 and Qual 2. I feel they were still holding out for a bye week potential, like something goes wrong. But since everything looks good, and now announce it, and it's fine. Because remember, we don't have that much time to organize that much stuff on weekends. We have one specific one every FNCS, right? So it's dope.
I was just gonna say, I think the first FNCS was all the data that they need to probably show like people on console or one of two things, right? Either they got the console guys are still competing, they're gonna play, or they're not competing. We lost a significant amount. Like, what the hell? Okay, we need like clear as day. We need to plan something. And then to your point, Shio, yes, that's also why they needed that bye week free for that reason in particular. Yo, is spec working? Is this working? Like, are we good? We're good.
Let's announce. Yeah,
exactly. So they needed that. I really do think so.
On the time thing,
this could have happened last season.
On the time thing, dude, we are on different scales. Like, you guys know how in the fiction stories, the fantasy stuff, the gods are timeless. They don't have any time, and they're like looking at a scale completely opposite to us. Like 10,000 years passes in a blink for the gods. That's what Epic is, and we're the plebs living on the planet. You know, like they don't give a crap if it takes 2 years or whatever. Like they're gonna release stuff as the time see fits for them. They have plenty of time. They're you know, I've thought that a lot of their thinking and plans and action has been short term in some cases, but it completely seems that they've kind of shifted. And it's very obvious that they work on scales of years rather than scales of months, where we're like, we need this now. They're like, well, number one, it takes a while for us to do it. Number two, we also don't really care when it comes out. Like, you're still gonna be here, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, they're the gods that have timeless. They don't give a crap about how long stuff takes. And yeah, they're looking at the data. Like Monster said, they're looking at the data. There's a lot of things that they could look at that says, okay, actually, this is what we have this amount of budget to be able to do this, and this is when we're gonna be able to do it. Not this season. We're gonna do it for these 4 seasons. You know, that's all part of their plans. They're all thinking about that stuff. So yeah. As far as it itself, I love it. I love it. It is a 16th or an 8th of the total like FNCS prize pool. I think like as long as it's not even as long as it's like an 8th or less, I think we're chilling.
This is solid. Like NA West $25,000 console. This is where it should have been. Like 50 G's, 100 G's. Like that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, like if we're discovering new tags, right? Epic is now, they're associated as well on their resume. They can put fifth dimensional beings. We don't really see time. It's sick. We are marine biologists, actually, as being able to cast this game. Did you guys know that?
Yeah.
We could go for jobs at SeaWorld. Why is this? Because we cast over a bunch of goldfish that have no memory retention and no understanding what's going on outside the little fishbowl. These same people that I saw the day console was like removed. We're like, yo, it's unfortunate. Yeah, they should have their own tournament. They should get their own prize pool. But it's so dope that FNCS is now PC only. Or it's now, it's now just one track. Hey, I hope you guys get your tournament. I hope you guys get your money. Shouldn't be anything like FNCS's. Should be a fraction of it. I respect you. Bobby Blue. Have a nice day. Same people. Why are these guys here? Where's my money in the weeks? I want my money in the weeks. Why do they have 250K? These same people, the same accounts, actual goldfish brains, bro. I don't understand. Like, I don't understand the community reaction to this. Why aren't people happy?
I'm more laughing at the I agree. I already tweeted about like how people should not be like upset about this at all. This is really good for the ecosystem. Look here's how people are, okay? Here's what console does. This is more players than any. This is getting Epic a lot of money, and it's also keeping people involved, not only involved in playing, which is very important. If a console guy can log on and be like Mero, be like Benji Fishy, that is good. He can actually compete in a tournament where there's maybe stacked lobbies for them. That is very, very good because that's going to keep them watching you, motherfucker. It's going to keep them watching you. Frey, Benji Fishy, like any of these guys, they're going to get more viewers because of console FNC, or whatever this is called, the console Champions Cup. They're going to get 100% more viewers. So it's very important. That's why I say ecosystem. I think that, I don't think that this should be a tournament that people are using. Like, it should have competitive integrity, but I also think that it should be like, this is literally a tournament where Epic can do whatever they want in terms of their goals, right? They want a lot of players. Okay, perfect. They can spread the money deep as hell. Full Winter Royale it. Just go for it.
Yeah.
And that would be fine. I don't know why they're not, where it's all top 33 teams only getting the prizing in every single region, but that's why I was always confused too, where they were like they had the $1.5 million for console FNCS. And it's like, why is this like even close to being like the same distribution as PC? It should be different, right? The goals are different entirely. You're not getting any viewership from this, so who cares who does incredibly well? They're not gonna pop off.
Don't forget, a lot of the really good controller players on PC too started on console. Like, there's a fair amount of them. Those exceptional players,
90%.
they need this opportunity. Those exceptional players, they need this to transfer over and take comp serious and get to PC, etc. So, I'm happy Epic saw the value in this because there's clearly value in this, in my opinion. The OCEs as a region is dying, so I don't even know like how that's gonna work out, but we'll see.
They got 5K, bro.
Bro, it's just getting worse and worse,
the
man.
console boys got 5K.
BR's on its way up. Brazil's cash is now rivaling. Honestly, Brazil's cash flow should rival NA East, in my opinion, because their player base is up there, and they should take advantage of that. But I think when you look at just currency,
they are, because their player base is rising and they're not spending that much.
I was gonna say, but yeah, and the currency travels differently, I guess, so it doesn't really matter. It's still a lot of money.
I mean,
they're
not making more money by spending more money there, so why would they? That's kind of that's how it is.
Makes sense.
It's business. It's hard business in terms of Brazil and some of these other regions. It sucks, but it is what it is. I am surprised to see Asia have more money than OC, but there was one more point about the format is really cool too. This is like it's a cup where you actually get to a custom stage and there's prizing there. It's just literally a week one FNCS qualifiers, except with money on the line at the end, like we used to. And also it just ends there, which in my opinion is the perfect way to have a good tournament and incentivize a lot of people playing and get people coming back for the next week.
Yep.
It's perfect.
It's short and sweet. You literally play, you do good Saturday, hell yeah, clear my calendar for Sunday, right? Like that type of beat, like facts though. And then if you're streaming it, like you just stick the whole narrative out. Like, you get to consume all that
and
all
it's by
weekend
itself.
long.
Like you talk about streaming it's by itself. There's nothing else happening. So who knows? The viewing parties might pick up on it because why not?
I feel like it's gonna pop. And like with people like Mero playing, like everyone's looking for a PS5. Like
that didn't happen before because console FNCS was happening at the same time.
Exactly.
Yep.
I think that's why when you ask why are they experimenting with top 33,
Yeah.
I think it's to see the potential for the natural viewership.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what happens in the future because
Yeah, maybe
this
the
can
next
have
couple
way
years.
bigger viewership.
Yep.
This will easily have way bigger viewership if they build something
what?
around
Sorry,
this.
hold up. Then what?
FNCS.
Nah, fuck that shit. Come on,
You know
get
why?
outta here.
You know why?
Nah, you fucking console sellout.
Because people are going to be more interested in watching Mero play on PlayStation. They want to watch Nick Merckx play on this. You will have way more because it's just unique. It's like, oh shit, what happens?
Where's Gref G? I don't think Gref G is going to be interested. I don't think a lot of the people in
Gref G will be interested if Lachlan tweets out he's going to get a console. Then they're like, oh, you know how the echo chamber works? It works the same way at the top, dude. What's cool?
Gref G's gonna be playing this. Hello?
He's
gonna be playing this.
Yeah, Gref G is contracted to probably play this because he has a damn skin. He has to play every
I see where he's coming because the thing is, like, everyone is not gonna there's nothing else to actually do. So that it could pop. It could pop. But at FNCS finals, I don't think so, because that's FNCS goddamn finals. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, but FNCS has been the same for so long. I think FNCS is still being like, I think now it's growing again because the spectator client's been fixed, etc. But I feel like it's going to be another FNCS or two before the numbers.
Did you just miss last season? That was the best FNCS ever. That was the episode of the podcast. That was the title of the podcast. Best viewership, everything.
And the thing with this next one is that there's these mystery trios that everyone wants to fucking watch. Like, you best believe everyone in EU wants to know what the hell Stented is going to do. You know, how Kanada's going to be rolling in the business. Everyone on NA wants to know. Everyone in the world wants to know, is Janice going to clap back? Like, what's happening round two? How are these trios going to look? So, finals going to be even more popping. And it's still that 2-day format.
I think we're still, maybe I'm looking at like the big picture, like when the last trios start, because remember, this is all year long. We know there's another season or two. Now I feel like we're hitting that point where we're in the middle. Players are already taxed out of like the competition of trio, the game mode.
Quals, man. It's quals.
Not only that, I feel like everybody's revitalized like more than ever. I mean, I was talking about the stretch narrative the entire time. Like,
I think stretch is unique in that perspective. I think the overall scene, though, I don't think trios is the wave too much. I think they're gonna be more tight of it next season than like 2 seasons from now when it's like the end. It's gonna be the big thing.
They're gonna start.
Look at all these refreshers, right? We got the solo big thing coming up. We have all these third-party tournaments that end up being duos and squads. We just had multiple duo events that we all just watched on Boom TV. We watched them on I think it was just Boom TV. Chipotle, yeah, like Chipotle. There are these drops of refreshments, these cool ice drinks, but like when it comes to the main course, like trios is the business. People are improving at it. The NA East Renaissance didn't just happen because time's running out. It's because people are getting a chance to play with the same trios in the same environment over and over again. Like, people are clearly attaching to it, and these finals, I feel like will pop than ever more than before. I agree with you that maybe in quals there are issues with people tuning in and like, all right, nothing much might have changed in terms of the overall format. But even in that game 6, regardless of whatever the Twitch viewership is, whatever the numbers are, the stakes are so much higher. It feels sometimes better to watch. Bala has his hand up for why.
Because this is the most stakes we've ever had in a week 3.
No, I understand the stake. Like that's what I'm saying. That 100%.
Oh, okay.
The stakes are 10 times higher. Viewership wise, though, people might not know that. You know what I mean? Or
that's what I feel like.
Still trios.
I still feel like we're in limbo. Like,
no, but the thing is, in a grand finals,
I feel like comps in limbo. Like with the connection to the viewership and the community. That's just me though.
Nah, you're thinking like a fucking player. You're too much on Twitter, bro. Every single season, these guys are gonna come around and be like, "I'm bored. Oh my, there's no content. We need to play solos and we need to play duos every time." It's like a goldfish. It's like a goldfish. Quals start, shit starts to pop. Like hardcore shit starts to pop. It's gonna go through. Quals is gonna happen. We're gonna get to heats, and everybody's gonna be like in the business. Nobody's gonna be like, "Oh, I think we should play duos right now in FNCS." I think that's the move.
You're right. Like, I'm in the now right now. I'm in the Twitter timeline too hard.
MDF has a valid take just on quals interest and viewership. That's all it is.
Good.
In general.
Sure.
For the people that are there, they're eating. They're
What
eating
was
good,
viewership
and
this
they're
week,
hyped
by
up
the way?
even
Because we
more.
were talking about it last week because it was bad.
I felt
but
like it was
drops were
I felt like it was
enabled.
down worse.
Was it?
It was-
No,
it
drops
was
were enabled.
rough.
There's no shot it could be worse than last time.
It was rough from what I was
It
seeing.
it looked
down
it
bad.
seemed pretty rough.
I'm looking
At
it
least
up.
from the few times I like tuned in
When
or
I
whatever.
tuned in,
Yeah,
just
I
check the
cannot
number, it
believe I
seemed
saw
rough.
NA East with 8K viewership for whatever last week. So,
NA East
all
like
right,
8,
solely
7
That's what
or
I'm
known.
something.
saying. Like, but and that's what I mean. Like things like that. Like there's room to like draw in the masses and build. But I think this console stuff is gonna be one of the catalysts for all that. Like
Yeah.
straight up bringing back
like,
interest, bringing
You
back
have to
players.
understand, you can't have high viewer like okay, you can't have high
430K
viewership
peak.
forever.
What are you guys talking about?
Okay, maybe I'm smoking methamphetamine.
What
but,
What
like,
are you
at the
guys
same
talking
time,
about?
There were lull moments, bro.
430K. For like, come on, that's a qualifier.
Yeah.
That's a qualifier. Am I looking at the right date? Yeah, May 1st. Okay, let me go back because last week was really bad. Hold on, let me expand this a
Shout
little
out to
bit.
Nick Merckx. He carried that because that man had like 100K facts. Like
Man, it wasn't even down bad last. Okay, okay.
I don't know, bro.
Hold on,
Oh,
what am I?
it-
Am I
400K this
tripping?
week then?
No, that was peak. Yeah, peak. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, 400K, 200K peak. Okay, we literally doubled this week.
Yeah.
All right, true.
And we came out of what week? Look at the line is sloping down though. How is it sloping down as we're
That's
ramping
what qualifiers.
into?
That's how qualifiers works. It is literally always like that. Always. Definitely worse than before.
Oh, it's a
But-
U shape. It's what we expect more so.
Yeah, look, this is the
Yeah.
peak last season. Like unbelievable. Unbelievable heights. I think we're gonna get there again. I don't think we're gonna hit the same peak as last time because I genuinely think that just the world right now is not like growing esports wise anymore because we're going back to school, all this different stuff, like just the way that the world is right now. The player base also slightly declining, so not all that stuff. But I think this is gonna continue to grow over time. And you have to think longer term, Monster, in my opinion, because every single week so far that I've been watching, it just feels like people are getting better. We're having more narratives that are more hookable. We're able to actually think this way rather than the way that we used to, man. We had a conversation for an hour and a half about results. We never could do that before because we literally have nothing to go off of. Ever. Back in duos, we couldn't do that, man. We just couldn't. It's like, well, these guys popped off in this mode and that tournament and this tournament, and okay, now
That is
they're
true.
together.
We are very much in the, I guess, yeah, you're right. This is still the infancy of what is the
This is the
competitive
infancy.
mode. This is the beginning.
This
You're
is the
absolutely
third
right.
season
The
in a
fact
row.
that we have actual like a foundation to stand on right now for just narrative, right? History, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's definitely all facts. So
Yeah, I do think that you might have a point.
I'm more interested now to see like where these viewerships go now, because if it does peak again, it's like, oh hell yeah. If it doesn't, it's like, okay, why not? What happens next? But although I do think that this is even more calculated now, this whole constant thing, because that's a boost leading into heats and stuff like that. Because now you want people like, damn, that comp week was fun, or you watch these pros, like, because there's going to be pros that jump on console.
That's a
like
fantastic
outright.
point.
So that is going to
Fantastic point.
then draw in even more reason for like, holy wait, next week is what, 3 million? Like 250 was crazy to watch. Like 3 million sounds dumb. That sounds absurd, right? Like whatever, boom. So this timing is actually phenomenal for boosting
This is
FNTASIA.
brilliant. This is brilliant. The top 33 things, I'm convinced your point about boosting forward. Like, look, how many console kids are going to get
this is a view
introduced to Mero, Reverse, 2K, and Day? How many of them are going to get introduced to them this week, the next weekend, I guess it is.
We're making a video on them right now. You're so smart. The clicks are gonna come. You're gonna start clicking on it. Hit the algorithm early.
I'm telling you, they're gonna pop off. They're gonna start with like console kids are gonna watch it, and then they're gonna come next week and watch for semis. They're gonna be like, "Where the fuck is Reverse 2K and Day?" And then they're like, "Oh, they're in the grand finals. Oh shit, they're playing for how much money? Oh shit."
It's crazy
and
because
it's against the PC players.
This is how like you go from like normal fame in the space to international stardom is like winning one of these right here, and then you just hook in like hella new wave.
Winning one of these and then winning an FNCS,
and then popping off, and staying consistent. staying consistent. Like,
Yep.
make sure you have a TikTok for one of these, and you're good. Like straight up, and then all of a sudden, you're like mega famous, dude.
Yep, 100%. One more thing, I just have to laugh. Okay, Shy, I was one of those people who had that take that you were like, oh, when you were talking about how people are goldfish. I'm not a goldfish, but I had the maybe I am. I don't know. I had that take where it's like, nah, console should have they should have their own thing, but this is good for the overall because prize pools going to PC is better, and they shouldn't have a significant portion. Blah blah blah. And you know when we had those takes, console, they're like, we're canceling ball. We're gonna grief this guy in this. Now I posted one reply that's like, this is good for the ecosystem. Console should have stuff. All of a sudden it's like, yeah, Baller, you're the best. Thank you for saying that. Hey. Meanwhile, like the entire time I had the same take, the exact same take.
Yeah.
And
dude, I don't know. I literally am bringing fish food to the next broadcast. Like, you
gotta be the people's champion, dude.
Gotta feed the kids, man. Like it's wild.
Facts.
It's wild. Wild week.
I'm ready to get this.
Sorry.
Who's this guy?
Let's go.
What's happening here, dude?
Freight train, bro. Come on.
I was fully expecting Zeke, so I was like, wait, what happened to Zeke? But it's freight train. Let's go. In the bit, so I didn't actually read this.
Oh wait, can you guys hear this? My bad. You're not supposed to be able to hear it.
Oh, I can't hear it. I cannot hear it.
Okay, good. I think it was in the recording.
Oh, true. Just looking at this again. Let me read this hella quick.
Yeah, let's go to the blog post.
First reactions to it. Autumn's growing wild. Fighting fire with fire.
Here, I'll tell you. I'll sum it up so you don't have to read it on the fly. Here's what happens. Okay, you see these items right here? The fire bow, the firefly jar, kaboom, gas tanks, all this stuff. The flare gun, all this stuff is on the normal island. Flare gun's not. I don't think the kaboom thing is. But these three items have increased spawn rate. Okay, it's jacked up. That means there's a lot of gas tanks. So Knight is very happy. Xset against them in Pleasant Park. Knight is very happy. He's a very, very good gas tanker. And fire will deal more damage and spread faster than before. It does 15
I think it spreads
damage a tick. Compared to how much? What was it? 2 damage?
10.
10? Oh, it's only 10.
And,
oh, okay. Hold up.
And don't forget
my frame of mind.
And don't forget, like, grass sets on fire too. Like, so like high ground bows.
Yeah, but
like,
it spreads
the floor sets on
fire.
fire.
Because the issue was, like, last week if you watched Spegu, I think you were looking at it one of these end games. It's like this guy just skirted around the fire. It was one bolt that went down in the 9th zone, and it almost covered the entire thing. He just skirted on the edge. Not going to be possible this week. You're taking 15, then maybe 10 after the fact, and it moves faster. Further.
Yeah, I think this is a nasty buff,
dude. I'm for you know me. I'm weird as fuck.
But then again,
I like the lore shit. I like the drizzles of cool things that are happening. Why does it have to affect comp?
Yeah, so from what I could tell, Stevie T said it is in comp, and he didn't know. I guess the flare gun was not meant to be in comp, which I honestly don't even care. But the 15 fire damage is in comp for sure, and I don't know why. My guess is that it's very difficult to decouple. It's not like a spawn rate change, where you can just arena has this value and normal has this value.
They're changing like the base, they're changing the foundation of like, it's just like a very early I'm thinking about it this way, in the code type beat. It's a very early type change that like it blossoms.
I think that's a good way to think of it.
Yeah, my thing is though, like I'm thinking about. My mind goes straight to League of Legends. And I'll try to walk you guys through why. There's an objective in that game where if you take it, it changes the shape of the map, and it gives the teams a certain buff that's at play, right? So every game, there's 4 different ways the map can change, and it makes certain characters better. It changes the way the game is played completely. It's a very minute change. Like bushes are bigger, or you have less walls around the map. Like for this, loot pool changes, the dynamic around an entire weapon changes. Say another wild week is like, yo, spires have increased movement speed, or like there's another certain mini gimmick that comes through. It just changes the way like it's played around week to week.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like it's a big change, but it'd be like, hey, for this week and this week only, everyone's movement speed is 5 like meters less, or like 1 meter per second slower.
Yep.
It doesn't seem like the biggest thing on paper, but it actually does change a significant way of how the game is played.
Yep.
And some people might like Shio, or what, no one ever even fires a flame bow. Flame bows, well, like this stuff in the loot pool. No, but I'm saying like for the one-off like people who are like, bro, blah blah blah. It's like that, first of all, will happen. Second of all, the loot pool is going to be changed now every week.
Yeah.
Like in terms of how things are available. That changes a lot. It might not look like it on paper, but it does change a lot.
Don't forget the flare gun was not meant to be in there. So they're ostensibly thinking about how to lessen the effect on comp.
I mean, it was like the time they took the minigun and gave it like this much more of anything, and then all of a sudden everyone was
the LMG, right?
And it was annoying.
Yeah, because
minigun, like it only takes one little tweak, but those percentage values like literally can swing the
think MMOs and stuff. Like people know in comp and in moments like this how to min-max.
It comes down to effectiveness, exactly. Min-maxing.
Like
the fire buff with the fire bow and the way it's gonna like literally deal damage to builds. And I think the most important thing about this, like I said, is just the terrain can set fire. Like all that is crazy.
Yeah, for me, it's not even this specific change. It's just, I'm just thinking about next week and the week after that, and the fact that we have flame now. FNCS finals is going to be different.
It's ice.
If people
what's
catch
the change
it,
there?
It's ice.
Water makes you rotate faster. Like now every car is faster.
Yeah.
Like it's Fast 9. When is Fast 9 getting released? Hold up, I'm onto something. Fast 9 release date. Fast 9 release date is June 2021. Dude, you can't make this up. We're gonna be rolling into finals. Cars have no fuel now. Like everyone can drive as much as they want. Dominic Toretto, playable character. It's a wild week, guys. It's a wild week in here in Fortnite.
It's a wild
week. The world is destabilizing fast. Like it's dude, like I don't know. I just feel like it changes. It goes back to that World Cup thing. Like Crimson Spades qual with pumps. Everyone else doesn't have like the same loots qualling from week 3 to 10. Like it just makes things not as competitive, and it might be a small minute change, but even 5 movement speed is such a different game.
But also, like, they take out the flare gun, but the spawn rates are the same,
for everything.
The spawn rates are increased, but they're the same. Like they're that change carries over, even though we clearly know that spawn rates can be affected in arena versus pubs.
Oh, true, yeah. So
why not just like remove or lessen the rates of fire stuff so that it's less of a big deal? Because something to help.
They want that change. They want that change shown on broadcast.
I thought we were done with this. I thought we were done with this.
That's what I'm saying. I thought we were done because like it might seem small once again. Maybe to the layman. Is that the term? The laymen's? I don't even know. It might seem small to the general person who's like, maybe calling. I think
it's because when you look at the usage level of the gas can, and this is probably what's driving this whole thing, is that if they make that any more or less, then it's literally never going to be picked up.
That's fine though.
Like I get that, but to them, it's again the numbers, right? So I think the reason they're trying to find a correlation to how do we make this so that it's a useful something, because the useful, like how much is being used right now must be so low that it's like,
who gives a fuck?
And they're directing it to the fire. So
everything's going fine in comp. My thing is, I don't see. Let me make sure I'm scrolling. I don't see Ghost Rider.
Everything is going fine, but
Storm.
I'm sure like the data, if to them they see like shotguns 90% kills, that's not fine. Like we need 50-50.
It's fine 30, if the engagement 30, from that is good, actually.
Yeah, but like no one's gonna play. The thing is that like they didn't do this last season. They didn't do this season before in terms of having like a monumental personal change. I'm saying I don't see Johnny Storm, Ghost Rider, Starfire. I don't see any fire-based character where it's like, okay, it's a collaboration. It has to be in the game.
Yeah.
This was a tactical move, which I just can't understand. We want to make
pubs.
this change.
I think it's very like it's
just for pubs.
Well, no, it's not. That's why we're having the conversation in general. But like they use the data from pubs to drive changes like this. And Monster's right. It probably is indicating that this is gonna be really fun. People vibe with limited time content, like hardcore, and that gets people playing.
With this idea hard too.
I know.
Take it out of comp.
Yes.
That's it. This is a genius idea. This reminds me of season
why couldn't they have
5.
done it next week in the console cup? I would have been fine with that.
Because the issue with my issue is not even if they did it next week. Because if they did it next week, it's gonna be there for semis, and finals.
Yeah.
Like, it's just why not? Like, we have summer hasn't started, has it?
I mean, it doesn't
It's
matter
May,
when
man.
they do it. Like, it's gonna
Just do it
land on
after
some
FNTASIA.
tournament. Let's be
Have
honest.
4 weeks in the off season.
Yeah, do it during the solo tournament. I'm fine with
do
I
that.
was gonna say it's gonna happen during a tournament, or whether we want it or not. Right?
Solos
This
is
one or
fine.
the
This-
next one, or
Or
I
a
don't
third
mind the
party
one-offs.
tournament.
If the one-offs
Or
are
a third-
clashing, right? If the one-off, the big cups, the vibrant things clash with some of the cool shit Fortnite's trying to do, that's fine. But
Yeah.
if you have an FNCS running and it's ran so well, and you understand what works, and you know these people are smart, man. They know that this might, there's a potential for this. It's just why?
I
should take
think
priority.
the fact that the flare gun is out might be. I think that wasn't enough. I think that they actually should have tweaked the values. But the fact that the flare gun is out is actually the competitive team looking at this and trying to do something. You know,
They're trying their best. Yeah, it's just
I
feel like
don't
they
think that you
understand.
should fully be in the dumps about this until you actually see what happens next week.
Man, but every time
Well-
I'm optimistic. Every time, man, there's just a dude up there.
You got to be
waiting
zen,
to
man.
pop my
You're
balloon.
in Fortnite. You got to be zen. You can't expect
I'd say-
anything, and you can't expect nothing. You know, you can't expect the
Baller,
word.
I was
You got to
sitting
be
on
zen,
islands and
bro. You
chairs,
got to
I
be
was
zen.
eating grapes. I was big vibing. It was a good time for Dom. We were in the glory.
I
the
agree.
golden
I agree.
age.
Truth is, they dropped the ball the moment they added the tactical and the infantry. Like, that was already like, come on,
That's
what the hell
true.
just
That's
happened?
true.
And then like they said, fuck it, cat's out the bag. We're gonna do this anyways. Roll it. They're mad. Like, whatever, right? Just go. We fucked up, right? I don't think they did that on purpose. It doesn't make sense to me. They've done so well not doing that. Like, literally for quite some time. Like, right, decent amount of time.
A whole year
For them to
feels
do
like.
that, yeah,
Yeah.
like they've done really well. If anything, they've only done a better job, like compartment.
Yeah, it's been the best we've ever.
right.
Here's,
So I think miscommunication happened. This is a patch that got pushed too soon. Timeline, someone forgot to update it.
yeah,
Shit happened. It was like, fuck, like here we are, right?
yeah, potentially.
I really don't think this was supposed to happen. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
I think fear is valid. I think it's valid. I don't think we're at the moment of freak out yet. You know,
I'm freaking out.
I don't
freaking
think
out.
we should be at that
I
moment
don't-
yet.
I'm
There's no way.
freaking out,
I
man.
I think
I'm
they've done- I
freaking
think-
out, man.
My
They've
fear
done such a
stems from
good
the fact
job.
that Arena has probably grown a shit ton, even though it's the comp mode, where it's no longer the comp mode anymore. You know, so how do you split? Because if Arena's casual, then how do you split?
No, but
That
it's like-
that is where my fear stems from.
Scrims, the scrims and stuff.
that's what the Origins rolling up to. But I feel like it's
Yeah,
just a
okay,
good
so you're gonna
gateway
have a
of having-
different you're gonna have a different loophole in Aura Scrims compared to Arena. You understand where I'm coming
No,
from?
that'll be comp. Like,
No,
but
no, I
it'll
know,
be
but-
comp because now the placement.
I don't think they're gonna.
No,
split-
And-
but they're not
And you
gonna
gotta be
split
arena
there.
champs and then get there.
I get all
Jump.
that. It's comp. I get it. That's more comp, but they're not going to split the game. They're not going to split Arena from the Aura Scrims. That's not going to
No.
happen.
Arena
They
is
don't-
where comp begins.
I know.
Right.
My point is Arena is fully casual. It's going to become fully casual where the person logs on, they want to play Arena because Siphon's in there.
That's
Or
good.
and
That's
also
good.
MMR. That's good. But it's bad because Epic wants to affect those guys with the wacky changes.
No, okay.
So they're
so
the
I
comp
don't
side
think-
has no.
I
Has
see.
no
what-
value
No,
anymore.
Balla is
I
right.
see where
Balla
Ball's
is
coming
right.
from. No, but Ball's not right. He's off the Percocets right now.
This
There's
is
no-
why I'm
there's no
fearful.
shots.
That
No, man, because
No,
you
it's
don't
a valid
understand,
concern.
Even if casuals are moving to Arena, there's gonna be more casuals moving over to casuals. Like, there's always going to be those
I don't know
bots,
about
man, who don't play Arena, who get
Yeah,
shit ton when they go there.
Data
who need
probably
to play with
shows.
AI. Like,
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Data probably shows that, yeah, pubs 50v50, those guys, they haven't went down, they haven't went up, they're there alive, right? Let them do their thing. But I think what they're probably seeing now is the creative playtime. Those guys are funneling into Arena now. Because
Yeah.
the more creative you play, the better you get. You can hang in Arena. So I think
you
that
guys forget
circle
that
comes
Arena
around.
has a whole gap of people that are in Open League are complete ass. Like, hello?
Right.
Yeah, but they're not on the level of needing to fill lobbies with AI and compete against AI.
Yeah.
Like, you
and
miss-
also
Because
well,
there's
no,
enough
they're
players,
bad,
no?
bro.
Nah, man, I'm looking at from the world of Fortnite. Like, dude, there are people who just log onto the game and vibe, like party royalers. Like those guys are funneling into pubs.
Yeah.
Like there's a whole section of people that list like that are there for the lore, there for the skins.
Okay.
They're like, yo, I would love it if we could craft stink bombs. 10,000 upvotes Fortnite BR. Like there's people in a different dimension, man, and they'll vibe there for a bit. The game is so different for them.
Yeah. But I don't think that counters my point entirely. There's also the group of people who are.
It doesn't because like to Ball's point, the more impact or the more weight Arena has, or like influence, like player base, etc., the more reason for them to say, how do we keep these guys coming back?
Yeah.
Through the methods of their version of we need to add crazy
the
shit.
people who watch Fortnite right now,
then we get more.
They're watching Nick Merckx. They're watching Nick A30. They're playing Arena. They go and play Arena.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Simple as that. And those people are not they're not competitive, like hardcore people who don't want everything.
I don't think they play Arena.
They 100% do.
How?
Not
how,
all
how,
of them.
How?
Because they see Nick Merckx fucking playing Arena.
They see Nick Merckx playing Arena. They go. They get shit on Arena. They just go play casual with the
No,
boys. They play
dude,
Fortnite.
that's not how it is. That's not how it is. Open lobbies.
Like Nick A30 are there waiting for lobbies to open up so they get run over by cars. The casuals just watching someone get swept. They enjoy watching people at their peaks.
Look, it's not a monolith. These people are not monoliths. Some of them are going to go play Arena. A good portion of them are also waiting to get run over by cars.
Yeah, but it's like, I'm just saying, I don't think we'll be out of like.
My point. Okay, thank you. All right, cool. We can move on now.
I thought about it for like 3 seconds. I see where you're coming from. Okay.
It's just a more significant. When it becomes more significant, it also becomes more significant to Epic. Like straight up. So, and that's where the change comes. That's where the effect comes.
And that's why we don't have 100% chest bonds.
That's the concern, right? That's the concern.
One day, man,
so,
we're gonna wake up.
Not that it will be like that.
No, one day is never gonna happen because casuals play Arena and 100% chest bonds is bad for Arena. I'm so convinced that this is the idea. That is why we don't have it, because there's a significant amount of people who play Arena, and it is what?
That's the only reason why. The only reason why. It's because you know, like, hey, I'm gonna land here,
bro.
I got three. I got three chests. You got 4 chests. You don't need to bother me because you got 4, and I'm not gonna fight you.
One of the reasons.
That is
why. It wasn't.
Ballas, you need to
you
face
guys
the hard
are literally
truth.
on some Twitter shit right now.
Nah,
Face the hard truth. That is the actual reason.
Come on. You guys are triggering me. Let's move on.
It's one of the supplying facts.
What was it? Illicit, Bucky, and whoever that's Slurpee. That's the reason. I'm telling you right now. I didn't forget Slacks or whoever the
hell. Shoot, what were we talking about? Wild Weeks, man. All right, I hope that whatever. All right, cool.
Yeah, I'll get you to the next thing. Thank you.
Let's go. Final topic. We're talking about Fortnite is dead, guys. Fortnite is dying. It's what is this? Part 19 of Fortnite is Fortnite fucked up or something? I don't know. I feel like we have 3 segments of this every week.
Rip Fortnite, yeah.
Rip Fortnite. Hashtag Rip Fortnite. Shout out my boys on console though and African servers. I'm trying to fill the bingo card right now. We love African servers. Okay. Epic overestimated potential Fortnite esports revenues by 154 million in 2019.
Bro, they wrote 3.2 billion instead of just 3.0. Damn. That's what happened, right? Because there's no way that people think the game's dying because of this. I
love that you started off that way, because context matters and we have none of it. First off, very, very clearly we have none of it. This could be something like that where it's like they got 3 billion in revenue anyways, you know, where it's like, holy shit, they got 3 billion. That's where this is at right now. This headline basically doesn't really tell us where they are in the context. You understand?
Is this headline just roasting like one of the accountants there that just fucked up?
No, come on. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying that. I'm saying this could be them this could be the difference between them getting $3 million in revenue or getting $0 in revenue or whatever, you know?
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying. I was like, mini roast on like the situation.
I think
just find the situation so
Epic
silly,
host
dude.
Zeke did not feature in 4 trailers this year. What? What are you talking about? Who cares? He was in all 44 of the other ones.
Yeah. You know
that's
what?
When I saw this, I
and
was
that's
like,
why when it was on Twitter,
people are really
I just
bored,
wanted to
like-
quote retweet like, I always call these guys morons, but I wanted to call some people morons. I'm like, what are you talking about? You sound like, because to me, it is very clear that it had to be 3 billion or 3.1 billion, and someone's like, right? Or like, am I tripping?
I think it was from esports revenue specifically. I
No,
think
you're
that
tripping.
was-
it is. It doesn't even say that.
It does.
What?
Well, I guess
Potential
it does.
esports revenues.
You're tripping.
I think
You-
that's
You
the only
wouldn't
thing
put
that-
skins
Oh,
in
what the hell is
esports
this? Get
revenues.
this out of here.
No, because the thing with skins is that none of them were esports based.
Yes, they are.
There was one that was there for World Cup.
Bro, listen. The moment they put Ninja as a skin, that was
It's
their
not
game.
esports based.
It's like
That's-
when you do your taxes and you write stuff up, you just kind of flex it.
No.
Like if it sort of fits, you can
This
make it
is-
work.
No, I don't think that's because
Skins?
That's not.
if
You
they
can't
did,
just
then-
take the revenue from the skins department and add it to the revenue of the esports department.
No,
That's
and here's
Yeah,
the thing:
you
if they
can.
were doing that, if they were doing that, they would not have reported a loss. You know what I mean?
whoa.
No, that's not true.
They didn't say they reported a loss. Again, all right, this is why we should
See,
start. This,
Okay, we're on a slippery slope.
Yeah,
I
look,
understand.
use the word loss. Like this is all gains, like big gains. Like
I just
Okay,
don't
okay,
understand.
okay.
Like,
Okay,
this
think about
article,
this.
Like no.
Oh,
really
shit,
Report
hold
revenue.
on. That spreadsheet outlined how Epic failed to meet its planned revenue goal of okay, hold on,
4.5
billion.
and they earned 4. It was even more than 3 billion.
Oh, shit, we didn't
hell
read the
no.
article. Hold on. We
Yo,
didn't read
it's
the
a great
article.
podcast, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah. Maybe
Look
skins
at
are
that.
involved then.
It's
Holy
literally
fuck.
just one dude who was
You're
like,
telling
fuck.
me
Yeah.
now you're telling me skins aren't in that? Come on, dog. That is all skins.
Yeah, that has.
Where else?
That
Where
That
else
has to
is
be
this?
literally people logging on to play Fortnite and buying skins. They're literally
It's that.
that's
It's their deal to
All
frontline Sony, like all that stuff.
yeah. Oh, that was
Billions,
also the
bro.
other like really interesting part was like
Damn, we got skimped on the prize pool then, bro. We could have had like that should have been a 300 milli prize
Yo,
pool.
but
no
but
cap.
think about that. Think about the Twitter headlines that were like that, and then you look at the estimate 4.5 billion.
yeah.
Whoever
should've
sat
had a
down
1
and
billion
calculated
prize
that,
pool,
like
bro.
shout out to that guy because he was dumb close. Like he should be getting reward for how good, like how accurate, right? Like think about
Facts.
that.
Actually,
Shout out to
facts.
that guy. Like
Actually,
this
facts.
is impressive, if anything.
This is
The fact
actually
someone
crazy.
can confidently write down to their investors as well. We're making about 4.5 billion.
That's
guys.
so
Trust
funny,
me. Give me
man.
your money. Trust me,
That's
this is going to be worth it.
crazy.
Think about that. This is some high level. I can't even wrap my mind around this. I can't sit at this conversation. Not
Not
should the
only
writer
that,
of this article. He shouldn't. He shouldn't
He's
either.
a
'cause-
genius. He's actually a genius because he overestimated on purpose, knowing an article would be made in 2 years that would give them even more advertisement.
Well, this is
Yes.
like because half the people
This
reading
only
this
came out. Yeah.
half the people reading this are like Epic is dumb as fuck. I got this is real bad. the meat of this is I think that this article buried the lead. Like that's what that there's so much fucking juice in here actually like
Yeah.
about the billion or whatever. The headline was really good to get you to click, but there's also this whole thing about Apple potentially being
that's what
a
this
World Cup
about.
sponsor and the fact that they made 4.59 billion off of esports.
So,
Like-
which also shows that they directly link or believe the reason they do sports is to show off those new skins, baby. Like this is all showing how the process.
Well, we already
behind
knew that.
Well, yeah, but like it's just more validation that
Yeah.
like esports is literally marketing. Like all these tournaments and stuff, the 3 million, like whatever it is, they just look at it as a way is we're
Mhm.
keeping you guys going, the content's flowing, all the videos you guys make, it all pays back, man.
I mean, yeah, it does that in every scene. You know?
So this is
You-
great for us because I'm finna be a part of this long 4 billion ecosystem, whatever, dude. It ain't going nowhere if it's 4 billion. That's what they're guesstimating.
And that was 2 years ago. The thing is, though, like it was. I feel like if I'm just looking at the timeline now with that thought process, like definitely when you're in that moment of we're making 4 billion, you feel like you're doing things right. Like even if they do flop up, like the Infinity Blade, planes,
Yep.
I think like from gameplay stuff, and then Season X happens, right? And then like you end up slipping sometimes.
It's
I'm
not
wondering
even
how
slipping.
much.
It's like, how do you make 4 billion without now needing to spend the 1 billion? I need to spend 500 mil this year. And that's why the prizes come down because they weren't seeing significant loss by any means. They did everything they had to do to get some stupid money coming through the door, and then they cut the cost down. It's just business, like literally.
I feel like they cut the cost down to then have like
they gave us the
like
sweet deal, and now
no,
that's it, bro.
I feel like there would have been like, you know, you're cutting costs down, but if World Cup was this good, they definitely go for another. I think that COVID probably just like wrecked shit. Like if you're making 4 billion, this is off like, you know, it's off that 10 week of World Cup. Like
they're making more now. Shayo, their player base is back up.
Yeah, but like think about
dude, the more I read this, the more I'm thinking that we really need to actually look at these documents to really get any sense of it, because the way that this is framed, there's so much in here.
It's deceiving.
You know, you don't want to arbitrarily talk about potential stuff that probably is not gonna happen.
100%. That is my feeling. I already was there when Monster already started off, but then we started going to this fucking like, oh shit, it was a clerical error. I'm like, no, hold on, what the hell?
Yeah, like that,
so
that's
yeah, nobody, especially if you haven't fucking read this, and the documents itself, should be able to really comment.
Bro, where are these documents, man? Like, where can I read this?
Go for it. There's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages in this court.
Yeah.
Court case.
Did you not tune into the YouTube live streams of people calling into the?
I did try, but
that was hilarious.
Like, yeah.
I've just been looking at Jacob Wolf's Twitter. He's just,
I'm not gonna lie, it was some of the best content, like genuine, just like raw comedy of like these guys are on there. I need skins. Bring back Travis Scott. Yeah, that's what they was telling the judge. It was funny, bro. Like it was sad, but it was funny.
Are they just supposed to sit there and listen too? Because like it's like,
yeah, they're part of the.
They weren't supposed to be able to talk.
Witnesses and stuff that come up.
They weren't supposed to be able to talk.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, that's cool. Learning experience there. We should always read the article before we
should read the article.
Come on in our podcast. But that was fun. That's FNTASIA wrapped up. We talked a little bit about console and stuff. We'll see how things go in the few coming weeks. Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting next week, because FNTASIA Week 3 results, and then we're getting ready for FNTASIA finals, but we're also like looking at console. So next episode is gonna be really interesting. We got some time.
The one thing I want to do next episode is talk about those 9 trios and how they look rolling into, or 12, I guess, right?
Yeah. Like little team previews.
Yeah. Like power rankings of the 12 would be sick for the regions. But yeah, it'd be nice.
Cool.
Monster Man. Fun times.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That was a long time coming, man. I always wanted to get on the podcast.
Yeah, bro.
Thanks, guys.
It was.
You came on one of the longest ones yet. I'm looking at the recording time.
Really?
2 hours 56 minutes. Holy shit.
Hey man, that was cool. That was cool.
Yeah. In terms of like, if people are tuning in somehow don't know about you, where can they find you at, bro?
Yo, at Monster D-Face on all social medias.
You didn't ask Resub to do that. Like,
I did ask Resub.
Oh, did you?
I swear to God.
You don't ask Levin
check out Resub. The goon.
Dude, every time I try to do a rap,
I'm just fucking with you. Tell the people what to comment, and then we out.
All right, if you guys see this, comment Pink Flamingo. If you see this, comment Pink Flamingo, and you get entered into a giveaway for my love. As we always say in give me a language.
Italian.
Italian. As we always say in Arabic, have a great day. Dude, end the thing, man. End the